welcome to a new episode of the Game Informer Show. I'm your host, Ben Hanson, joined by Cyril Vasquez.
Hi.
Welcome, sir. Growing a beard. We have Kylie Hilliard. Grew a beard. Hell yeah, you did. Ben Reeves. Shaved a beard. Ben Reeves, you always do this thing where you have one of your headphones off your ear. Why do you do that?
I can't hear you guys if I don't have this.
You realize our voice is coming through the headset.
It's not coming through mine.
Is that true?
Yeah, do I need to do something? Is my mic on? Is this a prank?
God,
wait, do we actually have a podcast?
Oh my god, not only do we have a podcast, we have a hell of a podcast this week, Ben Reeves. We're talking about a bunch of other new games that are on the horizon or just came out, stuff like that. So, we could talk about Lost Sphere, that RPG that we've talked about a little bit on the podcast before. You're definitely all qualified to speak on it. But we're not going to. Kim Wallace reviewed it, showed the review on the site. She gave it a 6.5, and it's like, it's a bummer that RPG Factory, the Tokyo RPG Factory, isn't cranking out better JRPG RPGs, but you can check out her review on the site. Did you say JRPG RPGs? Nope. And then, what we're actually going to talk about here is Sea of Thieves, the Xbox exclusive from Rare.
Yeah.
Coming real soon.
Xbox/PC exclusive.
There we go. Yeah. And you guys have played some of the beta?
Yes,
Reeves and I did.
In fact, Cyril, you were not.
I watched you guys play the beta.
Yeah,
perfect.
I knew it was basically the same thing.
Us and the two gems. Wonderful. Then we're going to talk about Celeste, a new platformer that Ben Reeves has been playing, Iconoclast, which is a Metroidvania? Yeah, Metroidy platformer? Yes. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then the Shadow of the Colossus remake. We had the interview with Bluepoint a while ago on the podcast, and now we're going to dive in deep, because that game's actually coming out again and again and again and again. But then, Ben Reeves, you want to talk a little bit about The Room, Old Sins?
Yeah.
Mobile puzzle game that you're in love with? Then I think we're probably going to get Brian Shane here to talk about UFC. He won't stop raving about it. Then community emails. Back half of the show, we're talking about Monster Hunter World. It's the first episode of GI Game Club. It's a very systems, combat-focused, weapons-focused discussion where we're talking about low-rank hunts in Monster Hunter World. So you've been playing the game. You want to hear us talk about it for a long time. Read emails from the community. That's back half of the show. And it is a beast. It is our biggest ever in-person Game Club crew. So we have 6 people on that one. Should we even over Uncharted? Yeah, well, Elise was Skyped in, which made it 6 people on Uncharted, which, I don't know if you got a little asterisk next to it. Yeah, it doesn't really count. Hey, for now, Sea of Thieves. Yeah. You've been playing it. Reeves, you went over to Rare a while ago.
2-3 months ago, I went and visited them, so I feel like a lot of what I played there is similar to what is in the beta, honestly.
What is the beta? What is this game? What can you guys tell me about what the hell this thing is?
Sure, top level, it's like a shared world game, so you jump on board, you play with like up to 4 friends. You can play solo, which I don't recommend. It's not nearly as fun as if you're playing with more people, and the more people, the better. And the more friendly those people are, the better. So yeah,
play with your buddies. Don't mess around.
Yeah, which is why I picked Kyle, obviously.
Aww.
And then somehow Jeff Quirk got aboard. But anyway, you all jump on, you pirate a ship, and the whole game is designed around each individual thing you do on the ship is designed to be a little bit complicated, so you need to rely on somebody else. So if you're piloting the ship, that's what they say, right? If you're at the wheel of the ship,
drive the ship.
The giant mast is in front of your face, so you need somebody else on the ship to be the lookout.
And this isn't an accident of game design.
This is all intentional. I mean, when you first play it, if you're playing solo, you'd be like, man, this is crappy design. But if you're playing with a group of dudes and having fun, it's weird, but it actually is fun to kind of have to rely on other people in that manner.
So it's all pirate themed, obviously. It's very cartoony, colorful and stuff, but it kind of gives some of that Space Team vibe where it's a lot of shouting at your friends to try and coordinate, trying to pull something off.
Totally. I didn't even think about that. That's a good comparison. I had a lot of fun. There was one moment where just the zany stuff you do, where we got attacked by another group of dudes, and we're all firing at the ship. I think Jeffin was piloting the ship, trying to go around. We're all firing. Cork's trying to tell him where to go, and then I jump in a cannon, and Kyle fires me off at the ship.
Wait, physically you?
You can actually jump in a cannon and get fired off.
That's awesome.
For his ship. It's that level of absurdity.
And it's chaos, but everything that you have to do in the game is simplified down to just make you focus on sort of the action that you're doing. It's not complicated to steer. It's not complicated to look at the map. It's not complicated to load and raise the curtains. But when you mash that all together, it does become this sort of fun, chaotic thing where everyone's yelling at each other, or everyone's yelling at me specifically for some reason. Everyone's getting really mad at me, and then
you're just kind of
really mad. and then Reeves is flying off in the distance, and Jeff is trying to avoid a rock that's in front of us.
Yeah.
It gets crazy.
There are a couple of videos we have on the site that do a good job of showing off the game and showing off all the different aspects of it.
Hey, Kyle, I mean, since you were going in a little bit fresher than Reeves was, were you surprised by the amount of fun you were having? Did you look down at your hands and feel in your heart and say, "Oh my God, I'm having fun"?
No, I did play it at E3. I played a full 4-player match, and I had a good time then. And since the beginning, I feel like I've been optimistic about the game and been like, "Oh, I can see why this would be fun with a group." And it was fun playing with Reeves and the two Jeffs. And it was because we were having these excuses to argue with each other in a fun way and try to work together. But when I step away from the game, I still am kind of left with a little bit of don't really know what we're doing. What's the end goal? It was fun to all jump on a ship and coordinate. We set our own goal and we did it. But outside of that, if I'm just am I trying to get better equipment? Are we trying to upgrade our ship? Is there a story? I don't really get a sense.
We don't know those things.
If it's, I don't know. Reeves, do you know?
What we do know is you're basically getting treasure chests. That's the whole loop of the game. Is you go out on your crew and you go to these islands, you solve riddles, you look at treasure maps. X marks the spot. In some cases, very literally, you dig up treasures and then you take those back to a base and you turn those in for gold. And then with that gold, you presumably buy things. However, well, no, sorry, you can actually buy things. You can buy them, and
equipment,
it's all
right?
cosmetic right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's the intent, is to stay all cosmetic. There's
you don't even get to see what's in the chests.
It's just gold. Actually, we did talk about this. It's there's no opening animation.
What?
Which
Just
feels
sell
very
a closed
disappointed.
chest to somebody in the beta.
Here you go. Here's the chest, and then bloop bloop. You get 80 gold.
I mean, everyone knows that if you open a chest before you turn it in, that it violates the warranty. So it's not really worth anything.
Yeah. But and the thing is maybe I'm just looking for too much in a weird way. Maybe I'm just expecting there's supposed to be more, but in this sort of modern state of games where what a game can be is kind of shifting, maybe that's all it needs to be.
Well, I think everyone was kind of in the build up, and every time people have seen this game, they're like, is this aiming to become kind of a cartoon Destiny? But it's not. It's more on the space team end of the spectrum than the Destiny end of the spectrum.
It's not a loop driven game. Really.
Yeah, that loop is all, you're just turning in gold chests so that you can you kind of do rank up, but that rank doesn't affect your damage output or anything. There's no in terms of level, that rank only applies to the types of missions you can get. So you can get better missions that give you higher rewards.
Okay,
but that's it. I mean, those high rewards just get you more gold to turn in chests to get more rewards with higher gold. It's just kind of a pirate ship eating itself.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, I feel like it's missing an element there, whereas in Destiny I get the idea of I'm equipping new gear, I'm getting stuff, and my damage output's getting higher. It feels like there's an element missing in that regard.
Yeah, but it as a functional, just a story generator, we walked away, just we played 2 hours together, and we recorded it, and honestly, the first video that we published, is the hardest I think I have ever laughed on a video.
Did you look in a mirror?
Well, yeah, there was a mirror set up in front of me. Oh, but I mean, it was really tears. I was crying. I was
from laughing. The game or from Ben Reeves?
From Ben Reeves. But
so by Ben Reeves for
we can quickly explain exactly what he did, or maybe we should keep it spoiler free if you want to go check out that video.
Maybe people just check.
Also, we pull a prank on
Reeves
Kyle.
Basically pulled this crazy prank in the context of the game, and I lost it. It was hilarious.
He made you walk the prank.
That's right, something like that. Yeah, but and maybe that's what that game. That's sort of the thing that you should go into that game wanting, is just a story generator for you and your friends. You have this big ship that you work together to control and see what happens.
It is amazing. Reading the comments on those videos in particular, it seems like a lot of people are impressed by the game so far. I know it did well streaming so far out of the gate. It seems like a lot of people are seeing it and saying, "Oh, this actually looks like fun. I should pay more attention to it." I mean, is your hype building for it, Reeves?
I don't know that my hype is building. I think we know pretty much what this game is, and it's a game that doesn't evolve much, and the amount of fun you have with it is very much dependent on the people you're hanging out with. So if you have a group of dudes, or ladies, I don't want to judge.
By the way, the dude counter's at 3. This episode of the podcast. Reeves, you say dudes a lot.
Dude and dudettes.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's all dependent on who you're hanging out with and the fun that you're going to have as a group. But I personally would like there to be a little bit more of a carrot on a stick, like something I'm running after inside the game. It's very much a sandbox, and that sandbox isn't going to change no matter how long you play the game.
And we know that.
As far as what they've said so far, yes. Okay. They have said that there's a progression system that you're getting chests with higher rewards, but it really just seems like those rewards are more bold.
Yeah. And when does it come out?
March 20th.
March 20th. So it's not that far. So I'm skipping a jump. A game that is out right now, Kyle, Iconoclast? Silly name. What is this game, and what do you think of it?
Thematically consistent name.
Oh?
Like, it very much ties into what that game is about.
What is the game?
Well, so it is a heavily Metroid-inspired pixelated platform.
Finally.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of those. But the thing that separates this game, and Cyril's been playing it too.
Yeah.
It totally functions as like that type of game that I like, that is good, that a lot of independent developers have made. But I think the thing that sets this game apart in particular, which I do like Iconoclast a lot, the reviews aren't on the site yet, but should be soon, is that its story really surprised me. It is very dark. Like, it is about competing faiths and religions in this world that is like on the verge of destruction. And I know that like world-ending calamity is like a frequent video game theme.
Yeah.
But this is like an occasion where I really honestly felt the weight of that. Like, I was like really scared for the characters and what was going to happen. And like the end of the game is crazy. It's just it's like about religious zealotry and like your familial obligations and like competing
in a Metroidvania.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like, I really like where that story goes and what happens to the people. And there's even moments where I was kind of like near the end, there's this like one boss fight where it made me even kind of think of like the more like sympathetic Metal Gear Solid bosses, where like I actually had a good handle on their backstory and I felt sorry for them and what they were going through.
Sorrow for them.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, it really surprised me that way. Like, I started playing and I was like, oh cool, this reminds me of Metroid, it looks great. It also reminds me of Drill Dozer, because you have a wrench and you can kind of like attack these like screws, and it just has, it's reminiscent of Drill Dozer, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Even with its like visual style. And then like it really threw me for a loop when I saw how dark that game gets. Like, there's a scene pretty early on where like you're in your brother's house and I know I'm going deep here, and you're like fixing their house, and you find out that like for you to do that goes in the face of this like religion that's that is integrated into every element of life in this world, to the point where like the brother is like, she needs to fix our house even though this could get us in trouble, and you're in the middle of this argument between your brother and his wife over whether you should be fixing their house. And it's just this like really dark moment that like I haven't experienced in a lot of games.
I was laughing because I'm doing it again now, but I was laughing because Cyril's mouth was opening and closing like he was a clown on a mini golf course or something. Like,
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I've been very excited to talk about it kind of.
No, yeah. No, you've been very excited about it.
I think he was mouthing the words I hate you.
I think. To Kyle's point, I think one of the things that I like about Iconoclast and the way it handles religion is that I think a lot of the game, when a game uses sort of heavy religious themes, there's a lot of like, religion is something that, is basically mind control and it's bad or whatever, and you're sort of fighting against it, but I feel like they present it as more nuanced than that. So throughout the game, one of the characters you're partnered with is sort of like a religious devotee, but they're not sort of like pushing it on you, but every once in a while they'll sort of subtly sneak a line of like, yeah, my faith is very important to me, and you've established through the game that this is a good person, but they also have like their faith is a big part of who they are, and that sometimes conflicts with sort of your own beliefs and the beliefs of some of the people around you, and so they do a really good job of not saying that like, oh, religion is bad, but like just saying that the ways that religion is important to people can lead to sort of a lot of conflict.
Book of Mormon style.
Yeah.
Okay. There are people arguing about their competing faiths, like while you're just sort of the silent protagonist in the middle, just kind of trying to just sort of be in the middle, literally, like you're just trying to help everybody regardless of what you personally believe, which is not what I expected from a fun, colorful looking Metroid.
Because there's a lot of conflict where it's like, okay, well that was a really heavy conversation. All right, time to go find my electric wrench so I can ride these rails at high speed. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. How's the running around as the Beast cast?
Right.
Enough about religious ideology.
It plays really well. Yeah.
Yeah. So you really like this game?
I really like it a lot. Yeah.
I think the combat, like right now, I haven't finished the game like Kyle has, but a lot of the combat so far seems a little simple. Like I only have 2 weapons, and sort of my wrench is just sort of like a basic strike. But I am enjoying sort of the way that it plays around with those ideas and some of the puzzles that they have you fix. Of like, here's a little grenade you can throw, and you're sort of pushing these blocks by using the grenades to blow the blocks in certain directions. So it's been fun in that way. It's not like as interconnected a map as you might see in like Castlevania. Yeah. It feels more like here's these several smaller maps that you travel between. So it's not like that integrated. But I mean, I've been enjoying the running around.
You used to be able to say the word Metroid, and I was like, there. I was like, I need to play this. But it feels like there's so many of those games now that it's like Nintendo says Metroid and nobody shows up. It's like
ringing the dinner bell for 3 months.
Please. So this is one of the ones that's like worth checking out. Like it's a tier above.
The story, this like as a sort of Metroid inspired indie game, it is totally functional and good in that way. But the thing that like takes it a step up is the story.
Okay, sure. Well, you intrigued me with that. I'm sure to check it out.
Just on Steam
and PS4 and Vita.
Oh, Vita.
I played it on Vita.
Vita's back, baby.
That's right.
Vita lives. Hell yeah. Ben Reed's Celeste. Platforming game that's out on absolutely everything known to man, including the Switch, which a lot of people are playing it on. This game came out last week. It is from the creators of Towerfall, one of the best local multiplayer games I think ever at this point. It came out, and people are treating it like a religion. Yeah, they're falling to their knees and praying to the Lord. Celeste as a platformer. What has been your experience?
Something about strawberries.
It's pretty good.
Strawberries. There's a lot of strawberries.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. I'm not ready to bow down to it yet, but it's.
Can you help your brother build his house?
I think I wasn't like a crazy Towerfall guy. I like Towerfall and what it's doing. I think this more appeals to me just in like the type of game it is. It's a platformer, run and jump. People have compared it a lot to Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
In that it's a challenging platformer and it has a lot of quick restarts. As soon as you die, you start over again. I will say, I think it's a little bit easier than Super Metroid. Super Meat Boy. What happened? I think it's a little easier than Super Metroid, so if that like turns you off.
Meat Boy.
Cereal, you turned me.
I'm sick of these Meat Boy Vanias.
Dude, come on. Anyway, if hearing the words Super Meat Boy turns you off because you're like, oh, that game was hard, maybe try this because it's not quite as bad.
Also, one of the interesting things about Celeste is they have a crazy assist mode, which they give you the option to turn on at any point. It's one of the most ambitious ones I've ever seen in a game, where you can. It basically feels like dev tools. Yeah. Like the amount of freedom that they give you, like, oh, you can have infinite jumps, you can be invincible, you can slow down the game speed. Like, the variety of options within Towerfall for like setting up a custom match and stuff. Right. Imagine that applied for just how can we help a player get through a game?
You can all the options. You can become immune to everything.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't mention is there's like a mid-air dash thing.
It's key,
which functions sort of like a double jump. So you jump once and then you have a dash. You can go in kind of any direction.
And a lot of the game is that push and pull between like I need to land on a platform to repower my double jump. And it's a very smart move where they have Celeste's hair. The main character's name is Celeste, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Her hair will change color when she can do that double jump, like that cool air dash.
And she can also climb on anything, which is kind of cool. She can climb straight up vertical walls if you hold down a button, but only for a limited time.
Yeah, she has like an invisible stamina meter, basically.
Yeah, and her grip will eventually run out, and she starts to like sort of vibrate and shake, like she's straining at the core, just trying to hold on.
So there are plenty of tough platformers out there. I'm trying to figure out. I'm only in like the second world, if you want to call it, because you're slowly climbing this mountain. Second area, and once I saw kind of, this is a weird thing, but the cosmic jelly turn, where it like boosts you through it. That was my first time playing the game, where I feel like it elevated to like, oh, this is going to be more creative than I was expecting. Maybe is it just the more you go into the game, there's more and more creative stuff like that?
Yeah, it feels like every area of the game is kind of broken up into zones, has a kind of new element to it, like the jelly that you just talked about. That's like the second area, and that was the point for me where I was like, oh, this could actually be really cool if they take this in some wild areas and directions. And I will say, I feel like that second area is probably still my favorite. The areas after that have done other cool things, but maybe not as wild as that second area. But it does change things up. That's what I like about it, where every new zone has some like different like twist on things. In one area, you're sort of fighting the wind, which goes in different directions. So there's always something different to look forward to. And I never felt like I was kind of growing tired of doing the same old jumping around.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Meat Boy comparisons flying around, as you know and you said, but it seems more puzzly than Meat Boy. Like, the thing I love about Meat Boy is just the purity and simplicity of it. Like, you're here, you get to there, you're going to die 1,000 times, go. Whereas I ran into situations already in this game where it's like, oh, there's multiple paths here. I don't know exactly. Okay, I have to go to this, and this will fall, and then I got to jump off that over to here. It feels more open.
It's less sort of one-off levels where you complete a simple challenge, and more like these interconnected sort of. Okay, in order to unlock the jelly, like that you were talking about earlier, you have to go to a certain part of the level to sort of activate it, and then you can sort of start messing around with the way it lets you propel yourself around the field. So I think that stuff is pretty cool. Reese, have you messed around with any of the B-sides at all? Because I feel like those are sort of hidden collectibles, and they act as sort of harder versions of those levels. And so I went and did the one for the second world, and that one actually was on like some like Meat Boy level hard of just like I'm going to die like 300 times.
Oh, God. That's curious. Yeah, because I've unlocked it. I've found a couple of those tapes where I unlocked that stuff, and that's cool to hear. I haven't messed around with it, but also that will.
The strawberries that you collect, so they act as sort of a way to have optional challenges of just, you can get through this level or you can get the strawberry, which makes it harder. But they don't, as far as they tell you straight up, like they don't do anything. They're just there for bragging rights, basically.
There are these collectible strawberries just scattered around the environment.
Remember the other day in the office, I won't name the person just in case they'd be embarrassed, but they're trying to say strategy RPG and they said strawberry RPG?
Oh my God, Kyle, that was you, wasn't it?
Let's just say it was. That's a very funny idea.
Yeah, calling something a strawberry RPG.
So overall the game is...
It's really good. I like it a lot. I don't know what I would score quite yet, but if you're at all interested in that type of game, I would say check it out because it's like a high quality platformer.
One of the best platformers in a while, fair to say?
Yeah, I would say.
Wow, there we go. A lot of people love it. Now we're getting to the meat potatoes here. Shadow of the Colossus. The remake-ish type thing is out on PS4 very, very soon. Kyle, you played through this. You flew through it. Surreal, you flew through it as well. I'm just on like the 6th or 7th Colossus on this playthrough. But the base game, nostalgia aside, is I think the best game ever made. My favorite game, and so I'm very excited for this remake. Out of the gate, the messaging on this has been so confusing, and I probably care more about this than anybody else.
Yes.
Because Blue Point Games was on the podcast a while ago explaining how it is still that original game's code running underneath this thing, and then it's a weird fusion of the two engines and the code bases melding together. But, like on the back of the box for the PS4 version, it's just built from the ground up for PlayStation 4. And I understand they have to frame it differently, that it's not just another remaster or up-resing, a new port. But the messaging is all over the place. Like, it's not a complete remake from the ground up.
It feels like one, though, I would argue. It's not. I think it is in a weird place where it's not like the Resident Evil 1 remake, where it feels like
exactly
they've. This is a brand new game that happens to resemble, Resident Evil 1, but it's not, like the remaster was just like it's in 1080p now.
It's more in the vein of the Halo Anniversary.
Yes,
that's what I keep thinking.
Where you switch back and forth,
and you can't switch back and forth in this one, even though the developers said that they said 90% of the way through the game's development they had that tech in there, so they can compare and contrast.
But they just hate consumers, and they said take it away.
All you need to know that this game isn't a complete remake from the ground up. Just look at the physics or the animations of the lizards. They're still all over the place. Just these weird, squirrely little polygons, which I love. I don't mean to belittle the game by saying that it's not as much of a remake as some people are making it seem, because I think Blue Point did an absolutely amazing job with this thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like a full remake.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's fair to put that on the back of the box, because we could get into the nitty-gritty of what it took to write code to create this game, but, like, it feels like a remake because they did remake all those Colossi.
Yeah. So what struck you playing through it again? You and Cyril. Like, what do you think was the most standout thing of, oh, thank God for the remake because of this? Is it just a reminder of how good that base game is? Or
I think it's something I never really thought about, but after reading Cal's review and seeing that, they changed the controls, I was definitely like, this game kind of had one of those weird control schemes towards the end of the PS2 era.
It's tough to get used to.
Yeah.
Like, even just having... Because default for Team Eco, I should say, is like jump on the triangle. And now switching that, I can get used to it. I like having jump on X. I can wrap my mind around it. But the parts that I still constantly F up is making aggro run is triangle. And so I constantly get an aggro and then jump right back off. Oh, damn it. Over and over and over.
I mean, that's just a matter of playing it kind of. Because even in my brain, I would still hit triangle every now and then to jump in the middle. But I think it was the right call to, because you could go back to that old style.
Right. They have all the control schemes you could want.
But I like even just a little thing, and I believe, because I just played through the PS3 one like a year ago or so, is that like you had to press R1 and square to roll, and now it's just circle. And so that's just like one little simple thing, and it's like, well, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
I didn't even notice that one. Absolutely. Yeah. The one thing that I would say is unforgivable at this point. Overall, they did an amazing job, and I hate being a stickler, but there is one thing I'm like, damn it, that bothers me as a stupid nerd more than it should, is changing the color of the grip meter from that, like, Shadow of the Colossus ass pink, which was a weird choice to begin with, but I connected so much to that game, especially towards the end of the game if you're getting all the lizards, and that pink circle is just like basically a fourth of your SD monitor, you know?
So you wish it was still growing.
Because No. I just don't like the fact that it changed it to yellow.
Oh, the color. So it's just because I do like the little tail, I guess you could call it.
So this is different, Reese. Have you seen this?
So I played the original, but I don't even remember. I remember the grip meter grew.
Yeah.
It didn't have the tail originally?
No. It's a super smart choice. What they did instead of having it take over the entire screen, which also I feel like it has its own appeal in the original version, just feeling like you're breaking the game by how many lizard tails you're throwing down your throat.
Which is the other fun, just a quick aside from that, is like if you beat the game a bunch of times and you crawl to the top of the tower, you can find fruit that lowers your health and stuff like that. And like the one thing I saw people like online saying with that is like, well, you can reduce the size of that if you want. Like, it's an option in the game, which I thought was funny.
But what they did now, they just right above the health bar, they put just an extension of that. So it's as if the circle's still growing and you just have a pinhole view on it. It's very specific and tough to convey in audio, I'm sorry, but it is the biggest change to the UI, and it's a really interesting one.
I like it because it gives you a better sense that you're actually expanding your stamina. Like, I think I didn't realize my stamina was growing until I was like a good bit into the game the first time I played it. You know, you get a little boost every time you beat a Colossus. Yeah. So now you actually get a sense of growth, which I think is nice. And it's also a little easier to track as far as like watching the circle grow. I thought anyway. Ultimately like the more important cues for like stabbing and stuff like that are related to what Wander is saying and where his legs are moving and stuff like that. But yeah, I like that UI change. I thought that was smart.
The visuals, what do you guys think? That fur's real shaggy.
The fur looks so good. I also, the eyes I like a lot. That was something I didn't really consider too much until I was fighting the Colossus that's under the sand. Where he comes up behind you and you really like look at it in the eye. Like I even said in the review, like I feel like the Colossi have like a kind of like almost more humanity now because the eyes are more.
Their eyes are so simple.
Yeah, but I guess it's just more like they're cloudier and they're kind of moving a little bit differently. And then like the other thing that really stood out to me is like every Colossus you beat, the portal to the sky looks a lot more impressive now. And the skin on the Colossi, it just, I don't know, it looks really good. Like they did a really good job.
They do a really good job of making you notice that, this looks different. Like, this does not look the way that it originally looked, but staying sort of true to the core of, like, this is the Colossus I remember. And even, outside of the Colossi, though, I mean, just the environments. I mean, the forest in particular, there's certain areas where it's like, oh my god, this is so detailed now. It looks amazing.
It looks like South Dakota.
It looks exactly like South Dakota, which is exactly what I want.
I'm writing it in the wiki. This is where it takes place.
There has been some scuttlebutt online, some people saying, like, does it look too good? Is it weird to have something so detailed? Does it remove anything from the original game?
Just making it feel like it's a fantasy world kind of a thing?
I think a lot of it, like the specific criticism was that because it was on the PS2, it had sort of like a quasi-Silent Hill effect where it kind of looked a little bit foggy or dreamlike. Yeah. And that's not here, but I don't know that that's... I guess I specifically never attributed that as like, this is one of the game's defining qualities that it's sort of dreamlike. And I get where people are coming from, but I don't think sort of that removing that sort of destroys whatever vision, Ueda had for the game. I just feel like that was sort of a more practical limitation than it was an artistic. I don't dream at 16 frames a second.
I feel like it was a technical limitation that was functional at the time. Like I think of like in Mega Man X, there were moments where like too much would happen on screen and the game would slow down.
Explosions of Goldeneye.
And when I was young, I was like, oh man, this is like, it was a technical limitation that was like, it was cool, and I was like, oh man, I'm doing so much that the game is slowing down. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of similar here, where it was just like, it was a technical limitation that functioned at the time, but I think it is improved by adding more detail. Like the world is more interesting to explore now, I think.
It is, yeah. I mean, the only thing Sony's been pumping these videos out comparing the two. It's fun to go and look at them. And like, there's so many situations where you look at that original one and you forget how like blown out that original game is, and it lends to such a unique style, just how bright everything is. Yeah. And it's weird to see how detailed everything is now, especially like in terms of the distance. But I think Blue Point did as good of a job, and also just it's worth stressing outside of the UI, like they were as faithful as they could possibly be. Like it's clear that they're have such a reverence for this classic game. It would have been so easy to remix things, and I feel like I don't know what that comes down to. I mean, what Sony says, how Sacred Sony compares it to, I'm sure it'd be like a studio by studio basis, how much they'd want to F with it. And to take the track of we're going to be almost as 100% faithful as we can be is wild.
They did add some collectibles that I don't think were in the original game. So usually, so when you raise your sword to find the next Colossus, your sword will glow blue, but in certain areas it'll glow gold. And so that's sort of your cue to find this glowing gold thing in the ground. And I found a couple of them, but I don't know what they do. But
and those are new, really?
I believe those are new.
Interesting.
I mean, Kyle could speak better on this, whether or not those are.
I don't think they're in there.
Right. So I don't know if those unlock some sort of like machine gun or whatever like will add to the game.
Machine gun jetpack.
Yeah. I just did really fulfill that mission. But yeah, that's sort of the most different thing that I saw. That's just like here's a new feature. But other than that, it definitely feels like it is very much that experience of just you wandering through this very quiet and solemn, sort of like area to face different colors. I think it is true to that, to the core experience of the game.
The game makes you want to cry as much as the original did. Do you guys have that experience? This game makes me want to bawl my eyes out every time I play.
Every time you kill a guard?
No! I mean, that's something as well, but just being alone in that environment with aggro, I just consistently get choked up, and I don't know what's wrong
When
with
you're
my
in the
brain.
middle of a battle and you call aggro, and he like really screams aggro, like I feel it. You know what I mean? That's mostly on the vocal work of the original action. But like, man, if you feel alone there. I always sort of imagine Shadow of Colossus as like the extended epilogue of another much longer game, where it's like this is the final thing I have to do to revive Mono. But like I will say that one specific moment that I think the remake kind of drew out really well is the moment with the it's one of like the small bullish colossi where you have to sort of use fire or whatever to lure him out, and like there was a palpable fear in its eyes as I was sort of moving it backwards. And I don't remember having sort of that visceral experience the first time around with that colossi. So that was one of those things that's like this is actually kind of powerful. So yeah, it is definitely a game that evokes a mood really, really well.
Did it ever make you feel like you just didn't want to play that game anymore? Or like if you're that, like, I don't feel like I want to be killing these things. Like, that's what I remember of it. And I remember really liking playing the game, but I haven't started it up again. Because part of me is like, that experience in a way was not really awkward, like weirdly sacred. And I almost don't want to like go back to it again and try to relive that because I want to like kind of keep it precious.
You'll find yourself falling in that groove again, though. Yeah. It's not a matter of like, I want to destroy it. Just rip off that band-aid, dive back in. It doesn't take long. I just need to keep going. This game is so much better than ever.
Just doing 6 stunts off of jumps.
We also have a 6-stunt video online.
And like even years removed from its original release, I don't know that there are a lot of games like it of just giving you this moment of not only sort of fighting this majestic beast, but also just the way that climbing on those colossi feels like a game that no other game has like really tried.
Yeah.
Like some games like Dragon's Dogma lets you climb on monsters, but it's really not the same way of just here's this enormous flying creature that you're riding on top of, and it feels like this huge struggle of you just basically clawing your way to the weak point and just like stabbing it, and then having to do it again. And like
that one can die.
Yeah.
But I playing it, I keep thinking like, I wonder if any faults in the original game's design will be more pronounced now in the PS4 version, and it hasn't really hit me yet. There's been a little bit of jank where like I shoot my arrow through fruit more often, like it should be hitting that fruit but it just keeps flying through. Weird stuff like that unless I'm from a certain angle. But is there anything else in the design that you feel like is glaring now?
I think that one of my biggest sort of frustration, which I don't know how much of it is just a specific thing to this run through, but I felt like I was being like wiggled a lot more often, just of like, okay, I have to grab on as this Colossus shakes me, and then I proceed. But it felt like more often like I was being shook, and then all right, here we go. Okay, I guess you're gonna keep shaking. All right, you're gonna do it again. All right, now I can go. Like it felt a little bit more frustrating.
I feel like that's just the game.
But okay, but I didn't remember it as much, so maybe it is just a thing that I just
right. And it sucks to be over analytical because it's not that hard to shift in the mind, especially if you're playing this game a couple of times throughout your life. Is just giving them mood of like, okay, this is just the game slowly triggering giant animations. Like, all right, where do I have to go again to trigger this Colossus other animations so that I can get to this one area? And like, if you get too scientific about it, if you
kind of ruins the illusion. Yeah,
but you can't fault Shadow of the Colossus. Sorry, Kyle, do you have any things with the design that stand out with the remaster?
No, I was actually kind of something similar to what Sarah was saying, where like there are little moments where the physics on Wander become very awkward and pronounced when you're getting shook around. But it doesn't bring the game down in any real way. It's just like sometimes you're kind of like, oh, that looks weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Overall, playing this game again, it just reminds me how insane it is that this game ran on a PS2.
Yeah.
It's impressive on a PS4, and when the core of the game is still the same, you just think back, I'm like, PS2 handled this scale of a world, and those giant creatures and those animations, and Edgar's animations alone, is mind-boggling that they pulled that off in, 4 years of development for Shadow of the Colossus? That should have been a Last Guardian-esque development hell, and somehow that team pulled it out still back then, and now it holds up so much today. Yeah. Also, the other thing going back to the game is, it feels like so many games, maybe in the indie space specifically, reference Kimiko's games for gameplay-based storytelling, kind of minimal plot, minimal lore. You get the broad strokes
Like
easily.
4 cutscenes in the game.
Exactly, yeah. Which, by the way, I thought back to an old one-up interview that always made me laugh, where they asked Uedo about that, and Uedo's like, yeah, maybe we should have had more. I don't know. Maybe we should have put some more in there. It's like, wait, no, don't you realize that's great? But that was the thing, is the beginning of this game, it's more explicit with the lore than I remembered. I mean, there's a fair amount of setup in this game, including like the Dorman's mask flying at the screen that I forgot about, where it's like, oh, it really is laying out exactly what's happening. I had a moment where I had to Google, I was like, wait, Wander talks? Yeah. I was like, I didn't think he talked at all. But yeah, he totally did. I just forgot. I feel like so many games have just dialed it back further. Think of like the Inside Limbo vein or something like that from what they did back then, and now to go back to the granddaddy of them all, Team Eco's work. It's like, you guys could have lessened this very basic thing that you're famous for even further.
Well, a lot of people are inspired by what they remember the game.
They were going in the opposite direction, because I feel like Eco was the one that was the most black box, you had no idea what was happening.
Yeah,
and then Shadow of the Colossus a little bit more, and then Last Guardian is the most story.
It's basically like a solid 4.
That's right. Which I like all of their games and all of the story. And I think Blue Point, would they do a Last Guardian remake at this point?
We wrote down that joke, you jerk. You stole my joke. It is time to finally remake Last Guardian on PS4.
Just to remake the PS3 version that never came out.
I would like to see an Eco remake in my mind, actually. I know Shadow of the Colossus is everybody's favorite, but Eco for me was the one that wowed me, and I have a special place in my heart for that game, and I would like to go back to it and see if it's as good as I remember it.
I mean, don't forget, if you still have a PS3 lying around, the PS3 remasters of both these games are amazing. That's probably the way to go.
That's probably the way to go.
I don't know. I wonder if there is that financial incentive for Blue Point to go all in on Eco. Probably not.
Probably not. Shadow's the one that it felt like their biggest game.
It'd be less work. There's no crazy colossi. It's just environments and then three character models and then the little shadowy dudes. They could knock that out
Blue Point is the experts, so the masters of the remasters. They can handle it.
Yeah, but then there's a Wander Space. It's not good.
That is the most glaring fault is every time the camera gets a close-up shot of Wander, it's like, oh boy, especially in the photo mode, which is great, by the way, definitely amazing. Yeah. But rotating that camera and then just a big glob of his weird Barbie doll eyes.
Too young or something. It just doesn't look quite right. I feel like little puffy cheeks or something.
Yeah.
It's gross. But honestly, that's really the only thing that I kind of call out is not liking. Ultimately, it's just that I think his face does not look right. But every other visual element of the game, I think
it doesn't really look right. I think it's tough because even the original, it is kind of it's in that haziness. It's how much detail do you add to Wander's face?
I just remember it being more gaunt. I didn't really get the same sense that he was, which I really love. That you're these things you're killing.
We don't need to spoil everything.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people are coming over for the first time.
Yeah. Anyway, you should play.
You compared his face, which I think is very apt to the American cover of Eco.
That's right. Yeah.
That was their reference point for Wander's face, the Shadow of the Colossus model. Music also is great. stands out as being better than you remembered it, probably.
Yeah, they added to it. It's a little vague exactly what they did, but they didn't re-record everything. But I think they layered it with more strings and stuff like that. They did revisit it, so it was good.
Yeah,
still great.
I realized that I had no idea who was the composer for this game. Went back and looked at it, and he hasn't done too many games, but it's fun to listen to the composer. I forget the name now, but look it up, because he also did a lot of Godzilla movies. Japanese Godzilla movies around like the 90s, early 2000s, and listening to those soundtracks, it's like, oh, this just sounds like more Shadow of the Colossus music. It's really fun to check out. Yeah. So you actually reviewed this thing then, Kyle?
Yes.
What'd you give it? 9 out of 10. Still amazing. Still the best game ever made, right, guys?
Man, it's up there. It's like certainly in my top 5, I would say.
I like it a lot. Yeah. There we go. Ben Reeves, let's talk about your sins.
There they are. That's all I got.
Sinless.
Free. Good job.
The Room, Old Sins.
Yeah.
This is the fourth Room game? Fourth Room game. These are little puzzle games on mobile that everybody loves.
Yeah, from Tommy Wiseau, the master of
puzzle.
Yeah, games. It's speaking of, that movie's very good. The Disaster Artist. Speaking of the Room,
We'll take it.
Blue Point Games made that, right?
That's right. They made the remaster. If you've never played a Room game, it's like I equate it to an adventure game because you're manipulating objects on the screen, and it's all based on like squishing your iPad or like twirling things or like moving things around.
It's like a bop
with your fingers. Yeah, it's really cool. It has a Lovecraftian vibe to it, so it's best played kind of with the lights out and like with good headphones. Like it's got a creepy vibe. I wouldn't say it's straight up horror though. Like there was no point where I like jumped, but I did like the kind of creepy mood. But yeah, it's really fun in terms of just manipulating objects. This one in particular, it's centered around this miniature dollhouse in an attic that you discover, and it's like in the 1800s, and you're looking at rooms, and you can like.
Are you like misting room to room?
Well,
as they say,
it's weird to describe, but you do have this special lens you wear that lets you see like invisible written words.
Are you walking around?
You don't see yourself, so it's like first person, but yeah, you're walking around this dollhouse mansion, and then you can like jump into the dollhouse, so you basically kind of like shrink down, and you're inside the room, inside the various rooms of the dollhouse.
Okay.
And then you're collecting items, and then in adventure game style, you're using those items in various environments to solve puzzles.
How would you rank this? How would you rank the rooms?
Like if I rank all of the rooms, games.
No, just like bathrooms, living rooms.
Oh, perfect. I would say there's a Japanese garden room that's probably the best. I would say the kitchen's really nice.
Yeah.
The living room's good. Worst room is the courtyard. Not even a room. Not that.
That's true. No, but is this one of the best room games? The best? Where would you?
I would say if you've ever played a room game, you might as well start here. It's not like the stories. There's sort of a thin narrative around all these games, but they don't connect super well, and it's not like they're telling a well thought out larger story. So, and I think this one, in terms of like refinement, is probably the best.
Okay.
So this is a good starting point.
Kyle and Cyril, I've meant to ask you too. How would you rank the Colossi in order from the best to the worst?
I really thought about that very much.
Right.
Best to worst?
Best Colossi to worst. Okay. Yes. Let's go around the horn. Just each of you back to back.
Use the most familiar names we have for these games.
Yeah. Okay. I think. Do you want me to start, and then you just go back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay. 13,
5, 16,
6,
3,
3,
14,
1,
5,
14, 1, 15,
11,
8,
9,
10,
10,
9,
6,
12,
2,
11,
4,
2,
8,
16,
15,
7,
7,
and 4.
12.
Yeah. So.
Cool. For now, Cyril.
Yeah.
Do you want to get the hell out of here so we can talk about some
Fighting!
All right. Bye.
Clap.
Clap. Welcome, Brian Shea.
Thanks.
We're talking about UFC.
We are.
Nonstop. UFC 18?
Just constantly. Whoa, we do match Kyle Hilliard.
Thank you.
UFC 3.
Wait a minute. Really?
Yeah,
They don't
not
go by the year?
annualized.
Why not?
It's like every other year.
Oh.
So this is the third game that EA Sports has put out with the UFC license.
How have they been in the past?
The first one was pretty rough. The last one was better, but still like not quite to where THQ's UFC Undisputed series was when it ended in like 2012.
Okay.
But this one is, I would say, the best MMA game ever released.
Really? Do you feel like it's so good it reaches beyond that UFC crowd and just to the gaming crowd in general? Like, I feel like the Madden reached a new audience this year. Do you feel like this UFC can do that?
I don't know if you have to have like that base interest in mixed martial arts in order to enjoy the game. I mean, it's a fighting game technically, but like it's totally like you're not gonna go and play NBA 2K all that much without like some interest in basketball.
Know anything about baseball? Yeah.
I mean, Reeves, you're a UFC guy. You go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the games and hoot and holler. They're called
Yeah, that's right. I probably watch. I've watched it with Brian. I mean, honestly, like UFC guy in that I watch maybe like 3 of those a year. Like I'm not like die hard and like those. I like it occasionally, and I do like it.
Okay.
Occasionally, you know what I mean? Like,
what the hell are you talking about? Do you like it, Reeves? I don't understand.
Occasionally, I don't think I've stated that yet. It's I don't know, an occasional pleasure.
Occasionally.
So I don't know that would the game appeal to people like me who occasionally
perverts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would.
Okay.
The perverted side, I mean.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it would. Like, at the end of the day, it's still like two people are just fighting each other. Like, there are some
Okay, I'm in.
some intricacies of like, all right, this is how like the ground game works, and like this is a strategy that real fighters use that like would help you. Just like in Madden, like you can go in and play Madden with like little knowledge of football, but like if you know what like a 3-4 defense is and like how to read zone coverage, like that's a lot more helpful. You know, like you have to have some. If you want to be really good, like having that knowledge helps a lot. But like if you just want to get in and beat the crap out of each other, like that also is perfectly fine. There's casual modes like knockout mode where it's like you have like set health and like whoever runs out of the health just gets knocked out. It's like standing only, so you're just throwing punches and kicks.
Generally, zooming out a little bit, UFC 3 just nails the gameplay, refines the gameplay more, or is it one of those sports games, fighting games, where they just add so many great new modes that's what pushes it over?
Well,
you gave it what score?
An 8.75.
Okay.
So it's a combination of the two. So they redid all the striking. So like all the stand-up stuff is completely redone, and they redid all the animations. So like the transitions between like moves is a lot smoother. The strikes in like the past games kind of looks a little awkward with like how they connected, or like sometimes like they'd both throw a punch at the same time, their arms get a little tangled up. Like now it's a lot more natural looking. And they added a huge career mode. Like they redid their entire career mode, which was awesome. Where it's like now it kind of has like a loose story, but it's not like Madden Long Shot where it's like an adventure game. Pretty much, it's like you start off as like a local fighter, and then you get noticed in the UFC, and you get brought in, and then you start climbing the ranks and earning different contracts. You have rivals that you can trash talk on social media.
Really?
Yeah,
In the game?
Yeah, like they'll talk crap with you, and like you have like a choice of like 3 things to respond, and like at different points in your career, like responses. Like if you're a total asshole to somebody, it'll get you more fans at one point in your career. But like if you're like a lesser known fighter talking crap to a better fighter, like you're like the fans will drop off, and like
this should be its own game.
So you have to become like the goal is to become the greatest of all time in the career mode. So you have to get 6 performance records, so like just breaking records for like most knockouts in your career, most like performance bonuses,
most retweets.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is you have to get 2 promotional records. So like when you go into training camp, each week you have 100 points of like time points to allocate. So you can choose to use those to train and like learn new moves or boost your attributes, or you can promote using those. So you can like get on Twitter and post or social media if they don't have the Twitter license, or you can like attend an event as like you can do like a meet and greet at a local restaurant, or go to a UFC gym and promote that. Like,
is it funny?
Some of it is. Like, it's not like I think some of it might be a little unintentionally funny. Like some of the example tweets, and like going in and coming out of every single fight, you also get a loading screen with like what people on social media are saying about your fighter.
Delete your account.
Yeah, along those lines.
Okay.
I've made $1,000 a week.
So, like, would you play a Telltale UFC game?
In a heartbeat. And then I've cooled on Telltale overall, but absolutely, that sounds fascinating. You wouldn't?
Yeah, I probably would.
Okay. That'd be the most interesting license they could pick up.
It would be super weird.
I've been meaning to ask Brian Shea
What?
if we just move this podcast table out of the way, could you beat Ben Reeves in a one-on-one fight?
Yeah.
Could you beat Ben Reeves and Kyle Hilliard in a one-on-one fight?
That would be a 1-on-2 fight, but No, we would merge, Reeves and I.
Hell, I think we
A little Voltron action.
Basically, I'm trying to figure out how many of us it would take to take you out, because you have muscles, I guess.
Nah, not really.
You have nice hair.
I do. Yeah, I mean, that's like +5 in my power.
You're like
You allocate a lot of your points to Twitter, so
Twitter and Instagram and hair.
No, but seriously, Kyle, if you had the opportunity, would you punch Brian Shea?
No, why would I punch Brian Shea? That's the thing, is I don't want to fight
Have you seen what he's been saying about you on Twitter?
No, I don't. I don't.
Your account.
I use all my points on other things. I don't use my points for Twitter.
Sarcasm and daughter.
Sick ass stunt.
Oh, all right, whatever.
Cool. So 875 for UFC 3.
Yeah, very good game. There are some improvements that they could make, like in the ground game or the commentary. Like, it's really weird. Like, the presentation's awesome, but like the commentary, like John Anik's the new play-by-play commentator. He comes in, does a great job in his first thing, which is usually a problem for sports games because they have to kind of start the bank of voice lines from scratch. But like, he actually did a really good job as his first time.
He never runs out of stuff to say.
And then there's Joe Rogan, who's the other UFC commentator, and he apparently.
I wish he would run out of things to say.
Well, he kind of does because he doesn't have. He like has very little new voice lines.
Did they just rip old news radio quotes?
But like, it's very noticeable. Like when it's like they're supposed to be going back and forth, like talking to each other about like what's going on. It's like, this is something I heard him talk to the last commentator about, but like now he's supposed to be interacting with.
We get it, DMT. We get it.
And then, all right, on it. We get it.
Did you memorize the script for UFC 2?
No, I played both of them a lot.
Okay.
But and then also like sometimes they're contextually unaware. Like I knock somebody out with an uppercut, and they're like, "What a vicious head kick!" And I'm like, "All right, that was incorrect."
There's no truth in this art. Turn it off.
But yeah, other than that, like I think it's a very, very good game.
That's awesome. You know what else is good?
What?
Emails from the community. You guys want to answer some?
Oh,
Do it.
let's do it.
Here we go. And welcome back to the Informer Show. We have great emails that people send to the podcast at GameInformer.com. Feedback, news stories you want us to cover, questions, words of wisdom, advice. Reese, what was your suggestion?
Lists. They should send us in lists. Like, here's like 5 characters in video games, and we would argue over their rank. Like,
So basically, send in things to rank.
Yeah, send in a bunch of things to rank.
Okay.
Pizza toppings.
Yeah, let us rank your fanfic. Whatever you want. Podcastinginformer.com. I'm going to read off some of the emails that we got here. The best emails we got. Sorry to everybody else that wrote in. Every email's great, though. And then we're going to choose the tippy top best, the very best, and then ship that person out something very, very nice. Like we sent out to the Zune Boys last week, which was a lot of fun. Also,
the crew, the Zune Boy crew.
they're a squad.
Our Zunies.
Yeah, they're gathering together.
Play
Hey,
CMPs
y'all
together.
Zunies.
Before we even get to emails, though, I always like a heads up on this. Next week's episode, we're talking about our next cover reveal. But, especially before that, tomorrow on Friday, we're wrapping up our God of War coverage with an interview with the creative director for the new God of War. So that's a bonus episode coming up. And then next week, we're diving in deep on some gameplay impressions and some interesting stories about a trip for the next cover story from Game Informer. It could be anything. This is fun. I love it.
What is it?
I always love learning what the next Game Informer cover story is from the inside, so I hope it's fun for the outside. It is one that is worth celebrating, Reeves. Anyways, David Simon writes in and says, "Hello, GI Crew. After hearing you guys argue about the Final Fantasy ports to mobile on last week's podcast, I feel like I needed to jump in. As a mega fan of Final Fantasy, I've been trying to get my 6 and 9-year-old children to play them. To my surprise, my 9-year-old daughter doesn't like Final Fantasy 4 through 9, so I experimented with Final Fantasy 3 on iPad. Come to find out, she loved it. Touchscreen mechanics and weird 3D animation is a much easier transition for her."
It's almost like Dan was wrong.
He's not.
He's not? Okay.
Look, and to be fair, I think that 2D art style for 6 and stuff looks like garbage as well. I'm just arguing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there.
Yeah. But the interesting here is Final Fantasy 3 and I believe 4 on iOS, it is that DS remake polygonal style, which I will defend. I think that's fine for like simple polygons for remaking those games. So this is a different thing, but I'm glad that it kind of proves the point that kids like good games. Let's see. We got a lot of emails about something that I don't think. Maybe I was just out of the office or tuned out, but I don't feel like it got much discussion within the office. And the internet let us know, "Hey, Game Informer, why aren't you talking about this? This is crazy." So basically, we have Alan from Portland and Kenzo Uji wrote in Scott from New Cumberland, Pennsylvania, all saying, hey, talk about that Xbox Game Pass stuff. It's crazy you guys haven't covered this. So what this is Xbox has their separate subscription service where you can pay $10 a month and you can get access to some old games, right? So they have Halo 5 on there. They have some staples. I think I'm sure there's a couple Forza games on there, and they have the rotating old crew, kind of like EA Access. Microsoft recently announced that all Xbox exclusives, day one, will be included in Game Pass. Yeah. So this is the Netflix for games that some people have wanted for so long, but only for the Microsoft exclusives, which you could argue, how many of those are there really? It's an amazing announcement, but when you start breaking down the numbers, it might not be as crazy as you expect. But as people have pointed out correctly, if you are planning on buying 2 Xbox games a year, then it's worth it just to go ahead and get this Xbox Game Pass and then have so many
per
extra
month,
games.
right? How much is it?
$10 a month.
So stuff like Cuphead and PUBG would have been on there last year. Does it come out?
That's a good question. I doubt it.
You don't think so?
Maybe Cuphead, yeah. Probably not PUBG.
Well, I mean, they're both on
PUBG is published by Microsoft on Xbox, right?
Yeah, but it's also available on the other system. I think primarily this is they even said in their announcement, hey, the next Gears of War game.
Studios.
Yeah. By the way, they quietly announced that there is, in fact, a Gears of War game in development, which they haven't announced so far, I don't think. And then, hey, next Halo game, next Forza game, those types of things are going to be on the service if you pay $10 a month, which is pretty wild.
In addition to the stuff that's already on there and the other stuff that might come on. It seems like a pretty good deal. I'm kind of still waiting. I'm maybe in a weird camp of, I play a lot of stuff on PS4 anyway, or PC, and so I still don't use my Xbox One as much as I should.
But that's what people are writing in about, saying, hey, you idiot, stop being PlayStation fanboy.
Now I don't even know if I'm a PlayStation fanboy. I just like them better.
You're wearing look at your sweater. For the audio listeners, he's wearing a Christmas sweater that is the ugliest PlayStation-themed thing I've ever seen a human being wear.
It's tough to say because it really is. It is a time will tell thing, when is Gears of War coming out? When is the new Halo coming out? When is Forza coming out? It's it's so far away to just start throwing $10 a month down now feels kind of like it's a good deal.
But there's plenty of games in the back catalog.
Yeah, that's true for sure.
I think I looked. Didn't they have BioShock Infinite? They had some good games on there, didn't they?
Last time I was digging through,
it was a while ago.
I'll put all their garbage.
I think Sunset Overdrive, right?
Could be, yeah. I was just bummed out digging through it because it didn't have the Master Chief Collection. That's all I wanted. It's they have Halo 5, which is probably better for most fans, but it's I really wanted their Master Chief Collection. So
it's tough. Just any monthly thing, regardless of the benefits of it, any new monthly thing that I have to add to my, getting pulled out of my bank account every month just makes me pause, and I'm hesitant to do it.
Well, subscribing for online services, getting Xbox Gold.
Yeah, because I have Netflix, I pay for Funimation, I pay for Hulu, and I don't want to just keep the show on Netflix.
No, just love in your life.
But yeah, I don't like adding new things to that, even if it financially will work out. I just as a fan of games, I would just rather pick and choose exactly which games I want and just buy Halo 6.
It feels kind of I don't know if you guys have heard a lot about the Movie Pass thing. That subscription, it's that probably makes sense. I go to so many movies, but I just like picking and choosing. I know financially probably isn't going to work out mathematically in my favor, but I like not being chained down to subscription.
Even I did the math on that, and if I did 3, if I bought one for every member of my family, I would still be saving money by going to the movies. But because I go a lot, I don't want to keep adding things that I will forget about that are getting pulled out of my bank account.
That's on us. But what do you think about the larger just industry concept of Microsoft saying, hey, all exclusives moving forward? Polygon wrote a piece recently about hey, Microsoft is desperate to buy some more exclusives and get some more studios under its belt because it is tough to sustain a lineup.
It is. It would sort of elevate the good games, I think, in a weird way. The ones that are, rather than the hype leading up to them, getting it sales, the more important sort of player numbers would become a much more important factor than sales numbers.
Well, that's already what Microsoft's pushing forward. When I went to some event and Phil Spencer got up and talked to us, he was talking about daily active users and monthly active users more than he was sales, which might be a result of the fact that Sony's killing them in sales, or was at the time. But that's the metric they're already relying heavily on.
Ideally, I would hope that it would encourage just better games in a weird way. I feel like Netflix's original content is really good because they can just
focus entirely on what people will watch as opposed to what people will buy.
If you're cynical, however, you might say, maybe this is just paving the road to get more people playing those good games, and then we can nickel and dime them with microtransactions.
Yeah, which is scary. I definitely don't want that.
Right.
Sure.
But if you look at the track record, the leaning that Microsoft has had over the years with the Halo series, with Forza, everything, it's definitely leaning in that way. And maybe everybody's just remounted in a big way after Battlefront 2. Maybe they'll course correct. You never know.
Or, if you want to look at it optimistically, maybe this is another way to try to find that sustainable way to like sell games, because they're like, oh well, $60 isn't enough, so let's just like see if we can get it by having this subscription service.
I wonder if they would convert into that subscription service model rather than like putting things out a la carte. They're just like they are on Netflix, where it's like, here you can access all of our content that we put out, and you want to like give us money because we're putting out good content. I think the business model would ever shift that direction.
So you mean like getting rid of buying games altogether and just like
Buying games on a disc.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
I
I don't
understand
know.
what you're saying.
That they would. Do you think that would ever happen, where they would shift to like if this kind of thing
The
took off?
only way to play Halo 7 is if you're a subscriber.
As things, I mean, because that's really the way you watch The Crown, right?
But you
have to subscribe to Netflix.
so you can buy Netflix shows on DVD.
Not all of them, though.
Some of them.
Yeah, but some of them you can.
So maybe
Oh,
the,
really?
the bigger
All the
hits
Marvel
that
ones
come
you
out, you could probably buy separately. But that model of like, we're just going to put out a ton of content and it's all good and you want to get this money.
It's an interesting idea. I don't know.
Maybe as things become more and more digital, that might make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, everybody that wrote in is totally right. It is a bigger deal. It's also just crazy to think of Microsoft committing to this. Like, they can't come back from it, can they? Like,
They can't come back.
there's no going back. It's a one-way door of saying, this is what we're doing.
Well, honestly, if they're only putting out like 2 games that are worth buying every year, like it's the wash for them.
Maybe the trick is they have no exclusives planned at all. And so, like, you sign up for this, like, I can't wait for all the Microsoft exclusives, and they don't exist.
And then they laugh. Lightning crack. But yeah, wait and see. I think
sound
E3
effects master. I gotta say.
E3 should be interesting. I'm curious to see how much they address it in their presentation. I think they'll say a lot. Jacob Wisdom has an interesting question here. Says, I seem to remember a time when you couldn't find a video game magazine without a demo disc in it, but I don't remember Game Informer ever following that trend. Is there a story there? I marched this email. I got it hot off the presses like it was the Post, and I stormed across the bullpen and I talked to Andy McNamara about it, and he said, don't bother me. I'm playing game phones. I'm like,
He was very confused about what he was doing and playing phones.
he was playing a game on his phone. No, he's like, oh, that's because we're like primarily subscription based, and having demo disc is great for newsstands, but Game Informer's never been huge on newsstand sales, and so that's the easy answer for why that is.
Oh, that's interesting.
I always loved having demo disc though. I remember just combing the shelves and being like, I just want the demo disc for it.
Oh yeah, I had a whole booklet, like a CD booklet that I would put demos in, and I would carry it around with me. I wouldn't actually carry it around with me, but I would collect them. You know,
That was my first game on PlayStation 1. When I got that, I bought PlayStation 1 to get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I didn't have enough to get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater along with a memory card and a PS1, so I just had a demo disc from like Pizza Hut or something.
Yeah.
And that was my game for like a month and a half.
How did you play it?
On the PS1. I bought the PS1 and a memory card, but I didn't have enough to get Tony Hawk as well.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I just had the demo disc for like a month and a half.
Oh,
And
you need
it had like
Jam-Pack
Spyro the
Volume
Dragon and like
Yeah, and I loved it when it was like the square ones, like the square grid, and then there were like secret. You know what I'm talking about? Where like you would hit L1 or R1 and it would like rotate some panels around, and then you could put in that code to like play another demo or watch another movie. Which, thinking about it now, those companies just got screwed over. Like, okay, you're going to be on this demo disc packed in all this stuff. You're going to be the secret video that fans won't be able to find. Ooh, what a deal for Croc 2. Please look forward to it.
Croc was one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nick from Texas says, hey, crew, recently my wife and I welcomed our firstborn son into the world.
Congratulations.
Now I know how Reiner feels. Stop giving that guy a hard time when he talks about his kid. But we can still give Kyle a hard time?
Yeah,
Is that clear, Nick?
actually called out Reiner.
Yeah. And anyways, he says, as time's limited, when I get to play video games in my life now, I'm noticing that I'm exclusively playing Ubisoft titles. This got me thinking. If you could only play games from one studio for the rest of your life, which would it be?
Nintendo.
Blue Point Games. Best remakes. They remake all the games, so sure.
Very interesting choice.
You get to play every game like 7 years after it comes out.
But a better version of it. That's true. You'll never know what you're missing.
But yeah. So they put out stuff. They put out enough stuff and enough good stuff.
I think this question is more fun if you focus in on like one development studio. So is it like EAD or like which subset? The Tokyo studio, you get to choose like which. It has to be EAD, right? Yes, sir. But like I thought, like the first one that I went to was Rockstar, but then I was like, they only put out the game like every 3 years. Good luck. Yeah, mine's still fun. Play Dead. The rest of your life, every 4 years you get a 2-hour game. Yeah. The worst choice you can get. Really good 2-hour game. You'll savor it. You gotta look at it. You're happy. Yeah. Back catalog is completely busy, variety of experiences. Yeah, they really do have their bases covered there with the different shots. Done deal. Done deal. That's a good one. Done deal. Done deal. Tyler from Greenwood, Indiana says, "Hey crew, I recently did Transistor by Supergiant, and I really enjoyed it. It seemed to have a pretty ambiguous story and left me somewhat confused, but the gameplay mechanics were interesting enough to keep me engaged the whole time. However, when my buddies asked me if they should check it out, I couldn't encourage them to do so. If you ever enjoyed a game and not been able to recommend it to others, it feels odd to say, hey, this game's pretty effing cool, but don't really play it." Have you guys ever heard of that situation?
Somewhat. I remember working at GameStop, and like I love Shadow of the Colossus so much that like anyone that walked in the door, I was like, please, for the love of God, play this game. It's so amazing. And I remember really convincing this regular customer to take it home and play it, and just being absolutely heartbroken when he brought it in the next day to like return it. I was like, no, you don't understand. You have to play this. And he's like, I beat the first Colossus. I don't think it's really for me.
Oh no!
It's like 10 minutes. I was crying. Oh, I see. That's tough. And my answer was a similar vein where
I can even have a new driver.
Last Guardian, right from her. Where it's like I really there's so much to love about that game, but I don't know if I want to inflict the worst parts of that game on friends and family by recommending it.
By a 7-foot tall retired center.
Yeah, like there's a caveat to the recommendation. Yeah. This game will make you want to throw a controller and scream at the top of your lungs because some of it is such garbage. But the best parts are some of the best experiences of gaming you'll ever have. So I think it's one of my favorite games I think I've played in a long time. But Persona 5 is so
all the way back to Finland.
If you can't commit 120 hours to this game, like you're just going to be disappointed. You know, like it's super fun from start to finish. It's great, like, presentationally. It's just that, like, you're going to look back and be like, man, I wish I had more time to play that game. But you're probably not going to have time to get to the end. You said finish though? I did finish it. I know it's more concept you might
I actually had this conversation last year with somebody where I was like, there's this really interesting game that came out. It's called Hellblade, and like describing the like weird like visual effects that happen. And you're like, man, that sounds really cool. Maybe I'll check it out. And I was like, oh, well, actually, I don't know if you'd like it. Because like I had this other kid, like he's very confused. I'm like, and I'm like, I don't know. If you're out there, like, check it out.
Pelicans fan.
I don't know. That's a weird one to recommend.
Yeah,
I do think it's an interesting experience, and I'm glad I had that experience. I don't really want to have that experience again. It's a hard one to recommend.
Right. Well,
you gotta sit down.
Speaking of good games, Nick Defoe from Columbus, Ohio writes in and says, "Hello, gang. I don't want to misquote, but I believe a few episodes back we were talking about God of War and how it's a reimagining of the series. I was wondering, what game series do you think is a close to perfect formula and doesn't need a reimagining? I'd like to throw Borderlands out there. Are there any game series where it's like, that's just perfect? Don't have that anymore. Can we remove all the dick jokes from GTA?
He played great. Number 5,
like
such a unicorn. Wow.
Like just not as good. You like the formula of GTA. Wow.
Look at the story.
Wow. That might not apply. You love looking at little letter icons on the map and then going, that's the formula that you just love. Yeah, that works. Okay. That's the best one. I'd go with 3.
Well, actually, no, the guy that said he was a fan.
Mount Rushmore of game formulas that they should never change and keep cranking this stuff out.
Number 1 should be unchecked.
Amplitude. Number 2, Paper Mario, original Paper Mario. Number 3, Her Story. Just keep cranking out that formula. I'm fine with that forever. I think we've reached
games.
Correct. Okay. I think we've reached formulaic perfection with the Mario Kart series at this point. Also Formula 1.
They haven't changed that.
I don't think my office is full of kleptos, meal, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. We're in agreement. Well, when they messed with it, they got rid of battle mode or like
classic battle mode with Mario Kart 8, and then they brought it back with 8 Deluxe, and I think that it's a much better game because of it.
Why did that feel so weird? I don't know. Does everyone feel weird now?
Well, I think it was the bomb of Formula One that really set the table.
I really derailed.
A lot of people laughed. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe we're just not hearing the listeners laughing.
Right. Send in your laughter, please. The podcast gameover.com to that Formula One joke.
Please record it and prove.
What if you got it? How long is the podcast? 2.5 hours?
Oh, this one's a game closing.
What if you got like a 2-3 hour audio file, just someone just kind of like chuckling periodically as they listen to the podcast?
Boiling noodles. What if we got every listener to send in their laugh, and we made a laugh track every time we had a thing like that?
That's easy, right, Hanson? You can do that.
Okay.
Do that. Send Hanson your laugh, please.
Tom Awesome from Roseville, Minnesota writes in. It's awesome. Hey, Ben and group. What are your thoughts on having the Super Bowl in Minneapolis? Are you enjoying it, or is it a pain in the ass? Also, Tom writes in and says, Brian Shea is the man. Hey, to bring it down a peg, though, Brian, I saw a YouTube comment recently that just says, is Brian Shea still a thing?
I don't know what that meant.
No, that never was.
I guess not.
You spelled it wrong.
Super Bowl Minneapolis is a very localized thing, but that'll really upend your city more than you think. It's crazy.
It's neat to kind of see all the stuff going up.
There's so much stuff. Closing down streets.
Yeah.
I mean, military tanks rolling around in Minneapolis.
There's like a big inflatable Paul Bunyan
helicopter.
Really, it's not all that different than when I was in Pittsburgh and they were shooting The Dark Knight Rises. Like military things driving down the street.
I don't think you've ever talked about it on the podcast, but literally Brian Shea is in Dark Knight Rises. You played Bane, right?
Yes. Okay. No, but I was among the first group of people, not like Christopher Nolan, that saw the Bane costume, like Tom Hardy in Bane costume.
That voice.
Yeah, well, the voice was different when we shot.
Believe it or not, this is what I'm going to sound like.
I was like,
we're not going to redo this.
It was harder to understand. Like in person.
Going through it,
yeah.
I can see that.
But like, it was also not like he obviously re-recorded that stuff.
Yeah.
I also have trouble understanding Christopher Nolan. He's got a weird accent.
Michael Caine says he's very soft-spoken.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't believe it. So, how many football players did they kill blowing up that thing?
They were like, I think there were like 7 or 8 holes that they had in the ground that like stuntmen fell through.
So they didn't blow it.
They did blow up. You'll get a kick out of this, guys. 69 explosions for that scene.
Oh,
Yeah, the sex number.
The sex number. You guys know the sex number.
Jesus Christ, you guys.
It's neat.
Christian
How it goes.
from...
Did we answer his question? Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
All of America, also surprisingly affected by that.
emotionally affected. Christian from Yakima, Washington. Pronounced Yakima? Well, I never. Says, hello, GI Crew. I really enjoyed the interactions you have with game developers and publishers, such as the roundtable discussions about Breath of the Wild or Smash clones, usually getting other developers together. Says, however, I've noticed that with the exception of the Greg Miller interview back in 2015, Game Informer doesn't have many interactions with other game media sites. I was wondering if there's a reason for that, and if that's something you might be interested in. I personally would love to hear JV talk to Austin Walker from Waypoint Games, Suriel to talk to Ben Pack from Giant Bomb, Dan Tack to talk with Dan Stapleton of IGN, talk about PC stuff. It's an interesting point. I would love to do more of that stuff. I love the kind of crossover. Part of it is their competition. Whatever.
We used to have Dan Riker on the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually.
And we were competing with just the Dan Show at the time. It's just life that is the Dan Show. But yeah, I love that.
It would be cool for sure.
Yeah. Part of it is like, we're up in Minnesota. Everybody else does, and so it's less communal maybe. But we love all those guys. We like other sites. Yeah, great stuff out there.
We like them a lot. We see them in events.
Absolutely, except for one person.
You know who you are.
David from Austin writes in and says, hey, GI Crew, I recently found myself wondering, do you all ever find it difficult that video games are both a job and a hobby for me? I'm working on a PhD in classics, and I 100% love what I do, but it is super rare that I get to the end of the day of a long day of work, and have any desire to do anything remotely related to that work. Do you ever get to the end of the day and find that you're just too worn out on games, or are you able to separate fun gaming from work gaming?
I mean, most of the time when I go home, I do play games. Like, that's my entire evening. I'll play games all night. However, there are, like, if I'm at work and I'm playing a review game for 8 hours, and, like, I go home, like, the last thing I want to do is play a game. So, I'll go for a walk, or I'll watch a movie or something instead. But, yeah, I would say like 6 out of 7 days a week I am playing games.
I love that Beatles song. I don't get sick of games. I thought I would when I first started here a long, long time ago. But it's like, no, I just go home and play games and listen to podcasts about games, then come back to work and talk about games.
You never have to play a game for work in the same way.
Well, not for review. But I mean, I'm constantly sitting at home playing stuff. But
It is. I don't tire of it though. The one thing I have, this is a weird one, but like I played through Shadow of the Colossus, and it's pretty deadline, so I'm not gonna have to get the review done. I had the review done, and then I was immediately moved over to Iconoclast. But I wanted to keep playing more Shadow of the Colossus. I wanted to do the time trials. I wanted to play it on hard. So I did run into this thing where I was at home, where if I was playing Shadow of the Colossus, I felt guilty because I should have been playing Iconoclasts. So that's like the one like weird thing I run into. But I just don't want to play games that are like.
Yeah, I've never had that problem either. I was playing games, even if I haven't like played games here. Like usually, you're having to play games for work, which aren't always like the first game you want to play. So when you go home, you can like, now I can play the game I actually want to play.
Yeah,
that's how it is.
also, that's the truth. They're games. Stop complaining, everybody.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I started here,
absolutely.
I was like, I get back into some of my old hobbies that, like, because I used to write about games after I would come home from my full-time job that wasn't game related, and I was like, now
An actor in Dark Knight Rises.
exactly. Okay. So when I started here, I was like, I'll be able to get back into all those old hobbies that I had before I started writing about games and playing games like every waking moment I wasn't at work. Yeah. And that just hasn't happened. Like I've not gotten back into guitar or comics as much
I
as I'd
feel
like to.
there's this weird thing like when you work in an environment where everybody plays games, like you're always talking about it all day, and it just sort of makes you want to play games more. I think there's a weird echo chamber there effect. Yeah, that's the right word.
Sure. Jesse in Scottsdale has the best question. Let's assume everyone on Earth has 100 hit points. What is the real world equivalent of losing 1 HP?
Eating a banana.
Like eating crappy food,
Doing
drinking a
one
soda
100 times would kill you.
That is it.
Paper cut?
1/100th. Paper cut's interesting.
I mean, people have smoked 100 cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part. It's like you need to thousands.
It needs to be a thing. I think my first gut reaction to this was, stubbing your toe.
That was mine too. Like in my head, I thought that.
But stub your toe.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't think you need to be that literal.
Yeah.
But I think stubbing your toe might even be like a 3. I think it super sucks.
Okay. Potions?
No. No. Paper cut's good.
So is this a situation where you recharge your health automatically?
No. No, you have to go to a little prayer station.
It creeps down. Like it'll go down and then kind of lift back up. But like,
when you fighting game meter,
you get the little red meter.
Yes.
Some of it doesn't fully recharge.
And that's always creeping down.
I think stubbing your toe is good.
I think that's more than mine.
I stubbed my toe really bad the other day, like bleeding, dripping blood. I thought maybe I should go to the hospital. But that's a 5. It was at least a 5, maybe 4.
I think maybe getting shot.
Yeah, like in the leg, in the head. Is that like a 40?
Not like a 1.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian Shane, like, you've seen 50 Cent, right? Like that dude.
That's literally bulletproof. That's his HP. It's 50.
That's very true. I'm gonna go with I like paper cut.
100 paper cuts would that might kill you.
That was
decimate.
What about like a really bad Charlie horse? Is that a 1?
No.
Also, Jesse is wondering, if you had to guess, what is the lowest your HP has ever been and why?
Gosh, it would have to be like a food poisoning situation.
So, have you ever almost died?
I thought I was going to after that Formula 1 joke bombs. I felt that.
Like literally, I think that's a good question.
One time there was that thing where there was that supervillain at that football team you went to.
Yeah. So I have legitimately almost died.
But hang on, if a bullet whizzes by you in an RPG, you're not losing HP. So that's not this question.
That's what I'm saying about. There's been moments where I've been close to, like, if I'd been 2 feet over, I would have died.
That's not this.
That's not.
I mean, like, have you ever been in a situation where you have, like, if this did not happen, like, exactly the way it happened, I would have died. Like,
You weren't rushed to the
here are my examples. I have
What your HP has been?
No, let him tell the story, then we'll get back to the question.
So once in Cub Scouts, which is, the little kid version of Boy Scouts, we were all sitting around the campfire, and we were laughing really, really hard. I was laughing at really, I don't think someone was. Probably something dumb like that. But I laughed really hard and I started falling into the fire. What? And my dad happened to be standing behind me, and he reached over, grabbed me by the back of my collar, and like pulled me back as I was falling into the fire. Whoa! I have multiple questions.
Well, that's interesting.
Why didn't he grab the little lapel? Because he just grabbed whatever he could.
I question why
His son grabbed you. I think being grabbed by Brian's dad's like the 1 HP scenario. And then the other time at college, I choked on a piece of chicken and had to receive the Heimlich maneuver.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that tempting?
Yeah.
And that was like, it was beeping down the second you got.
I was like blacking out.
Metal Gear.
I was like literally like it was like Call of Duty where like the black around the border.
Literally, it was Call of Duty.
Yeah, like people were shooting at me. I was ducking behind cover. My friend was like, "Let me give you the Heimlich." No Russian.
I think I did this maybe cheating, but because I wasn't conscious, but like I had my gallbladder and my appendix removed at the same time. There's probably some freaky bloody crap going on. That's probably the lowest HP I've ever been.
Well, you were in a lot of pain before, like leading up, like you went to the hospital because you were in so much pain, right?
Yeah, and they said you're having a panic attack. Go home. By the way, your gallbladder is exploding. Yeah.
Doctor, probably when I had mono, like I was really, really bad.
But how like you felt really bad?
I felt like garbage. I didn't eat anything except for like crackers and Propel fitness water for like 2 weeks.
It's no joke. I mean, that's why she's named that instead of the Colossus. That's what she's
suffering from mono. Oh, that's oh my god.
People don't know that. Breeze went the lowest you've ever been.
Like, well, this thing, if you're like feeling really bad, what you do when you're sick, how low are you really? Are you like 90 still? Because you're not really that sick.
It depends on how, like the flu, you're probably, unless it gets really bad.
You wouldn't be popping that potion.
Because I don't think I've ever really been lower than that, honestly.
Like,
I've been really, really sick. It felt like I was at a 1, but like, realistically.
No rush to the hospital. I told you have a panic attack, go back later and get major surgery.
I did like skin my shin to the point where I had to go get 7 stitches.
Oh, I remember that. I knew you did, didn't I?
Yeah, you were a creepy 7-year-old boy behind me.
No, did you mess up your shins and you had to go to
that's different. I didn't have stitches for that one.
That was a different
different shin-related incident.
Is it true that your dad ripped the skin off your shins? He reached over and grabbed the skin.
Brian Shea jumped behind him and grabbed my dad.
And then lit them both on fire.
That's right.
I once had 2 sprained ankles at once. Simultaneously.
How funny did it look when you walked?
Oh, it was bad. Yeah. It was like a year before I joined Game Informer.
Did you look like a penguin?
Well, I did have crutches, so did you feel like a penguin?
Okay, I think that's a good round on that one. Let's see. Matthew from Seattle. Also, killer question. Okay. Matthew from Seattle, Washington, that is, says, "Hey, GI crew."
What was that?
Hey crew, Formula One. Very simple yet fun question for you guys. I like that Matthew's calling his own question fun. We'll be the judge of that. But yes, it is. Since the Final Fantasy games are distinct and separate from each other and share the same names across the series, barring the sequels, what unique name would you give any of them as if they were their own IP? An example I came up with is Bros on the Road, Cup Noodle Quest.
Marketing side is strong suit, I don't think.
Hear it out. Clearly it is with a cash tie and the Cup Noodle. Alright, so Final Fantasy 7 reads. You know? We just did it on the Game Club 16 years ago. It was not called Final Fantasy 7. What would the name of that game be? The World and I was thinking, like, what is 7 about? I love zooming out that far, but what is that about? I guess it's just about Cloud's adventure. I think, no, that's the lamest thing I've ever heard on. It's a game about identity, ultimately. Like, you had to boil it down to Madman. Madman, Sephiroth. Am I helping you? No! Okay. I think it's a game about identity. I'll go on the list, so I'll go with Crisis: Identity. That'll be my name. Crisis Core. Well, different. What's the connection?
He does have amnesia, so it could be Amnesia the Dark Descent. Going into Cloud's mind.
Absolutely. You could just name it after character in the game and just call it like Genova's Chen.
Oh, what a journey.
How about this one has the gun sword?
It's just called
this one has the gun sword. What about like for Final Fantasy X, Blitzball, and also some other things, I guess. 15 could be pretty much Ninja Turtles.
Pretty much Ninja Turtles is a great name for a game.
I really like that name, Kyle. I think you're wasting it on fiction. Why is it pretty much the Ninja Turtles?
Because the four guys, they're just the Ninja Turtles.
But they are nowhere near as cool as the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I know that. Have you honestly, did you play episode Ignis? Because I think you changed your tune. Yeah, that's Donatello. Oh, I see. Episode Donatello, pretty much.
What about 6? That is that opera, the one with Kepka.
No, come on. Real name. Okay.
The world basically does end at that.
So is the world's gonna end?
Yeah, like The Last of Us or something like that. It's like the...
Damn it, you guys. Sticking to the spin. I like it. Well, Final Fantasy X has a lot of religion stuff, and the monster in that, you could probably go Divinity Original Sin. Okay. Wait, what is the ultimate sin, right? That's the
In 10, yeah.
You can also go with, I think this joke format has run its course.
No. Last one.
Real name.
Series.
Real name.
Okay. Final Fantasy name. Final Fantasy name.
Final Fantasy answer for Final Fantasy 9. An alpha test. That's the dumbest game in Parser joke. Final Fantasy 8.
I like it. It's just some guy Nate.
It's so stupid. Okay, Final Fantasy 9. Marketable name. No more jokes. Okay. So I haven't played a ton of 9, so I know that this isn't my name, but it is the one with the guy with the tail, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. And there's also you have the wizard guy. What's his name? Saying Dragon Ball Z stuff. Yep. Well, technically, I am saying Dragon Ball Z stuff, but the things that stand out to me are those two characters.
That one has a giant tree, right?
What about just calling it the World Tree? No,
that's a good name.
I mean, there's a lot of woe in that, and I think that stop. Yeah, I'm having a tough time zooming out on 9. It's what is that? What's that world tree? The Yggdrasil? Is that in the game? Because that's
I don't know if that's what they call it, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's very. I was gonna be it's very fantasy. Tree of Might.
Shut up, Kyle. Okay, let's see. Final Fantasy 9. You'd call it.
Isn't there a princess on here?
Yeah, you'd call it
Queen's Quest.
You'd call it Castle Princess.
Secret Princess? Castle. I like Secret Princess.
Yeah.
Secret Princess. You're going with Secret Princess for this, right? I feel like Queen's Quest. I feel like you really chuckled over that. But the Queen is just like a big fat moron that dies super early. Okay. Do you remember that section in Final Fantasy X where you have to dodge the lightning? Yeah. I think you could probably say lightning returns.
You could call it Tony Hawk Pro Slayer because that's what I named my dude.
I'm going to write in the podcast again when I come and tell Shay to stop with that joke format. Here I go. I did that. Hands pretty much had a humma. Email of the week goes to me. All right. Great question. Kyle and I was wondering. I was happily reading through my God of War issue of the Game Informer magazine when I noticed an advertisement for Game Informer's 300th issue party. What? At Bolton Brewery in Minneapolis? Awesome, I thought, and promptly secured my fake ticket, which guarantees me nothing. What the heck is this, folks? Should I come to this thing? What is this? Great question. On next week's episode of the podcast, we'll talk about it, but there is indeed an ad in the latest issue of Game Informer that says, hey, if you like beer and you like Game Informer, we have a certain issue coming up. You can probably do the math at the Bolton Brewery, but we'll talk about it next week. All right. For that. Sounds like a tease. Billy from Gloucester, Virginia, killer question here says, I think you're all familiar with a rocket jump in a video game. My question is, do you think it'd be possible to perform a successful rocket jump in real life? Try. No, that would do 98 HP damage. What if you had super protective, like an umbrella at your feet? That would could. I mean, isn't that what getting launched out of a rocket, or a cannonball at the circus? Isn't that a rocket jump? I mean, isn't that an explosion at your feet that sends you flying? You have to be in control and aim it down. Hold the cannon. Yeah. I think you'd probably die. Yeah, try this. Don't do it. Do not try this. Dude, seriously. At home, at work.
Seriously, dude.
Hey, Billy, are you listening? Billy, don't get it through your head. Come on. Henrik Mortensen, great name. Hello. Over the years of my gaming career, I've struggled with some strange words from either English or Japanese games, like Eggman. In Norwegian, which Henrik Mortensen is from, he's from Norwegian. Shut up. He says, in Norwegian, hick literally means dick.
And Min means mine. So when I play Pippin for my 8 and 9-year-old nephews and their parents ask what I play for them, I say Dick Mine, which ain't exactly my dick, but it's pretty close. Another example, this is interesting, is Ash and Bosch from Final Fantasy XII. Ash means you, and Bosch means poo. Like those exact words. You and poo are on your team. This was hard for me to write because I never swear. Does anyone else from other countries have the same problem, or am I all alone? I'm sure a lot of people do. Also, Henrik stands out for closing his emails with "Hate your show." Hate your show. That's really fun. That's really good. But I'm assuming he's being sarcastic. In Norwegian, hate means love. Thanks. What do you guys think? Kan du snakke norsk? Is there a church named Bus? One of the conferences? It's Bus, yeah. It's not a joke. Excuse me. So sorry. That's no joke at all. But no one else has that problem, but I'm glad that you're experiencing that in lovely Norway. Really good. Thanks to all the international listeners, by the way. I always love seeing, like, oh, this person's coming from that place.
Yeah, how do you improve it?
He wrote Hate Your Show. Yeah, we can look up a picture of Norway. Yeah. Send in a picture to Norway.
Norway. A picture of Norway.
Yeah, come on. We can tell.
We can send a picture of map to Norway.
Very silly. What do you guys like? Email of the week.
I like the 100 HP.
HP, it's hard. I was going to say the HP one, yeah.
That might be email of the year.
We're only in January. I hope they didn't take that from something else, because I think it is such a good question. That is Jesse from Scottsdale. Thank you, Jesse. Scottsdale, God's country. We'll send you something real nice. Thank you so much. Great email.
Take a picture of Scottsdale to prove that you're actually
Stop it. So many people wrote in saying, like, what they do. Like,
really?
I love the one where it's like, I deliver mail while listening to the podcast. Oh, that's fun. But some of the other ones were like, I sit in my room. Ben Reeves. I have a weird voice. Hello. Anyways, Jesse, email of the week. Thank you so much. As for now, Monster Hunter World. We're talking about low rank fights, hunts, systems, UI, everything under the sun with Monster Hunter World. Our biggest crew yet. So get ready for that. And welcome back to the Informer Show, and welcome to the first ever GI Game Club for Monster Hunter World, everybody! Fantastic. It sounds like it's just me if you're just listening to the audio version, but I assure you that is not the case. More people here. There's a lot more excited people here at this table. We have Jeff Cork.
Hi.
Monster Chief himself.
Wow.
Then we have Jeff Markefava.
The other Jeff.
Someone from the first expedition. Lele Tobin from production. You say hi. No, Lily, you really have to shout it. Hi. Okay, I've never seen Lele before. She is a graphic designer here at Game Informer who's a huge Monster Hunter fan. She was on the replay, and I got a lot of emails and tweets, people demanding Lele be on this game club, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
So, pressure's on Lele. Then we have Dan Tack.
Hey.
And Joe Juba. That's me. And Leo Vader in the booth. And also, there's more people in this building. I think I'll just keep on naming them and keep going around the horn. Monster Hunter World. We are talking. I'm excited for this game club because we're always so narrative based. Like, we talked about Uncharted 4. I think some of you were on that one. And it was one of those things where I think we got one email that's like, what weapon do you guys like? It's like, oh yeah, there's gameplay we should talk about in Uncharted instead of just story beat to story beat. And so with this game club, it's going to be very, very systems heavy, very combat heavy, very hunt heavy, Dan Tag. Right?
No, we have a Pokemon game called that almost no story to talk about either. So it's not like completely.
I feel like we talked a lot about story with Pokemon games.
We talked about how bad it was.
It was not great. But with this one, we're talking about low rank fights, low rank hunts. But it's loose. Like, if you haven't, Dan Tag, you're in the camp of it's tough to spoil this game. We're going to be talking about the hunts maybe you haven't gotten to, but we're not going to.
There really isn't anything to spoil.
What if you were to say something like Rathalos is in this game? Is that something a fan would find to be a spoiler?
I can't. No, not for one thing. That was well known like before the game came out. So they can expect to see familiar faces. I'm just saying, like, this is a very difficult. Most of the stuff in this game that is meaningful, it's you fighting the monster, not just knowing a monster is there.
Absolutely. And so this is part 1 of the Game Club. Part 2 is going to be talking about everything else in the game. IN fights, Elder Dragon fights, all that stuff. So if you have thoughts on those, send it into podcast@gameformer.com and stay tuned for the next episode. Well, for this episode, let's get going here. Monster Hunter World, everyone's been playing it. Just to set the scene, should we go around and give like an hour count of where roughly we're all at? Cork, you've been playing it for a while now. Do you know where you're at?
I have no idea.
Upwards of 20?
Oh, for sure.
What's your star rank or whatever?
What are you?
17 or 18.
Holy.
Okay. All right, Jeff Gordon, you're a serious man. Baba, how are you doing?
I played about 15 hours.
Okay. Lay?
I've been really busy.
No excuses. Just
Under 10.
That's fine. That's fine. We love all ranges here. Dan Tack?
Around 85 hours.
Jojiba? I'm probably around 10 hours. Okay, I'm around like 16 myself, but I'm very bad at the game, so I'm probably not that far. First question from Walters here. I love this question. Howdy, GI crew. Hello. With you guys playing now the final version of Monster Hunter World, I have to know if turtles are confirmed. Ever since hearing your first impressions talking about the game when you previewed it, Tack spoke of these turtles you can go up against. When I heard this, I was really excited, hoping for it to be true. If there are in fact turtles, this would be a literal game changer. Dan Tack, now that you played through the complete game, there be turtles?
There is no turtle boss.
Oh. There are heavier... So you lied. Heavier... I never said there for what
He said, for example, turtle. I said, for example. All right, there was never any... I never actually said there were going to be turtles in the game.
So you can't get a turtle in your little cute room or anything like that?
Well, there might be a cute pet turtle or something.
Oh, still keeping the door open. Doors open on turtles, everybody.
And to be fair, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen every monster yet. I'm still
Really?
And we should talk about this in the next show, but even after campaign is complete, you are still discovering and learning about new and more dangerous monsters to fight and beat.
If you had to wager $100 on there still being a turtle in the game, would you take that bet?
No. I think a turtle would just be too cute. And you're already bashing some hilarious stupid things like the Great Dragus, which every player has seen. Listen to this probably.
Such a cakewalk.
Or the Kuluyatu or whatever it's called. Just these monsters that don't really do much in the way of offense. To put a turtle in as an end game, light you up, you're going down thing, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't call for it in RPGs. The defense is always crazy.
I know they've done it. I know they have.
Final Fantasy 15, the super boss is an enormous.
Final Fantasy, for some reason, loves turtle bosses. Okay, and they always go in their shell, and then they do a big move when they come out. But we're not talking about Final Fantasy today.
We got a couple other random thoughts before we dive into the meat of this overall game club, I think. Anthony from Houston, thanks for writing in, Anthony. He says, hello, crew. I'm loving Monster Hunter World, but I just cannot get over the lip syncing during cutscenes. Oh, man, it's abysmal. Especially the handler. It seems like half of her lines are delivered through a grin and clenched teeth, as if she's trying to keep her eternally positive disposition while struggling with a stomach ulcer. Everything else about this game is great, though, he says.
Is it just a function of, if you have it in Japanese, the lip syncing lines up, and they didn't bother to go over
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, you really have to play it as though you are watching a dubbed movie.
What do you guys think about just the cutscenes? I know this is not the highlight of Monster Hunter, but just the story so far. Has anything grabbed you guys?
I feel like it's nice that they're taking a little bit more effort in that realm. It's certainly not a story game by any stretch.
Yeah.
But it does have more there than previous entries where, it's literally just, hey, the monster's out there, go get them.
Like the big set piece Dora Megaros, first encounter, trying to chain it down and stuff. I was actually really impressed by that entire thing. I didn't expect such a cinematic mission in the game. Lele, how do you think the story compares to previous Monster Hunters?
The series really never has had much in the way of compelling storytelling.
You've avoided it before?
Get quests, So for me, it's not that important. I think it's probably more to sort of fit what's normal in Western games, and what would appeal more to a wider audience. But
do we find it appealing? That's the question.
It doesn't bother me. Yeah. It's kind of fun. I like having the little cinematic cutscenes, mostly because it's fun for me to take screenshots or just have a moment to pause.
Yeah, with your artist's eye. A lot of those monster tricks I think are really cool. The Beareth one in particular, where they're going in slow motion, firing at it. I think it's sweet.
Yeah. Very fun.
Yeah. I want to jump in on something real quick that Jeff said though, which is you have to approach it like it's a dubbed movie or something. I think that does a big disservice to dubbing though too, because because there's actually an art to doing dubs in terms of writing the words and the timing to at least make it look like they're talking when words are coming out, and they didn't even do that basic level of due diligence on this. There's just someone who's staring at you, mouth not moving at all as dialogue is happening, and then their mouth starts. It's really distracting.
Are you talking about in the cutscenes or when you're walking around town?
In the cinematic scene.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true in the really high rendered ones or whatever, but it's driving me crazy on that cover story, Cork, because Cork and I went on the cover story. We were in Osaka playing the game in Capcom's headquarters, which was strange. But we played the first 10 hours or so back then, and playing it there, it was just driving me nuts the entire time. I was like, God, the leader, like the team leader, his voice is so familiar. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Is it Matt Mercer? But he's like McCree. Most importantly, probably he's Leon Kennedy. And so that's the thing. It's like, oh, of course, Leon. That's where I've heard that voice so many times. But last little oddball here. I don't know if this is a legally binding name, but he says, hello, Mr. Hansen. Jamie Lee Curtis here with a few observations. I'm new to the series. I'm finding the rabbit hole fascinating. The gameplay is currently enthralling, while the story and setting I wouldn't touch with Surreal's creepy spider digits. It's a podcast callback with Surreal's cool.
Well worth it.
Yep. The real topic here are these cats, the Palicos. The health department would have a field day at that canteen. The worst part isn't even eating the filthy cat food, but the fact that you participate in their enslavement? They call you Meowster? What's going on with the Palicos in this game?
They're your cat pal. I mean, I think you're reading a lot into the game that's about killing, mythical fake monsters that don't exist, and it's cool to have little cat companions. If you want more cats, in fact, the last Monster Hunter game for 3DS was all cats, and that was really annoying. So I'm glad we're back to regular cats.
What do you mean all cats?
There's cats everywhere. Palicos were everywhere. Everywhere. They were in every town. They were everywhere.
Monster Hunter.
You need to catch them and level them up and trade
Generation.
Pokemon.
Oh, okay. Oh, those
so not story. I'm not counting stories.
But yeah.
And who's to say that they're saying master and not Mister? But when you put meow in there, I think that
I played female, so I think
Jamie Lee Curtis is showing his bias a little bit there.
It could be. Also, real quick, Robbie from Tampa, and actually some other people wrote in too, with just the idea of, I think it's because, what we talked about previously in this podcast, I think it's because Shadow of the Colossus is back in everyone's mind, but a couple people did write in, like Robbie here, saying, like, you guys feel guilty at all? Lele, I saw when we killed Toby Kadachi with each other, you were the first one to be like, oh my god, no!
I feel that way when I fought Farah. Like, I just think he's a cool dude hanging out.
I full on cry every time I kill a monster in Shadow of the Colossus, so
Right.
Yeah.
So this is at a much, much lesser scale for feeling guilty in any way.
Depends a lot on the monster.
Barrett, I felt worse about because he just goes at one point he just sort of goes and takes a nap in the mud, and I'm like, I'm gonna go murder that napping mud dog.
I mean, let me address that a little bit. Just since we're in the early hours, that will certainly change. They do the earlier monsters, I think, are a little bit more sympathetic.
Okay.
You will not ever feel guilty about taking down Elder Dragon.
Oh no, straight up bloodthirsty for those Elder Dragons.
They're very angry monsters.
It could be, but
they will chase you down. Okay, it'll be the other way around.
I love killing the great Jaguars. I like imagining it's kids that I'm orphaning.
You don't have to imagine. You see the Jaguars.
Yeah,
the Jaguars buddy's staring at it. Like,
Yeah.
Daddy, no!
But you know what? There's always another great Jaggers out there.
And then I'm like, I'm going to convince you to join my team. You're going to like it. Oh, Joey, sick F.
That's true. Willie Plum really dives into it here. Plum in the depths saying, hello, crew. What I wanted to know is which weapon is everyone's favorite. Personally, I'm using and loving the Insect Glaive. I'm super stoked for this game club, and hopefully Lele is on the game club.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Willie, I hope you're happy.
Mission
All right,
accomplished.
this is it. Now we're diving into the whole kit and caboodle, the meat and bananas here. Jeff Cork, what weapon are you using?
Light bowgun.
You're sticking with that. You loved it on the cover story trailer.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that. I like dropping the Wyvern Blast, I think they're called, like the mines. I love getting in close, dropping those, and then blowing them up and causing a lot of AoE damage. I like being able to shoot things from a distance, obviously, because it's a bowgun. And it's nice to be able to do some of the environmental traps without switching to the slingshot thing, which I still don't have a great grasp of that. No, because I don't have to, because I'm just using a light bowgun.
So what happens when a monster gets all up in your face when you have the light bowgun?
I drop a Wyvern Blast and shoot it, or roll out of the way. I stay very close. I've got all my mod slots for it are used with extra damage when I'm up close, because it isn't intuitive, but I'm all up in their faces, just point blank range with this light bowgun. So it's a ranged weapon in name only in many instances.
Do you think the range stuff is slightly easier? Just two people that I'm playing with, they both took down Anjanath solo, and they're like, it wasn't too bad, and they both had ranged weapons, so maybe that's my problem here.
We'll give them some time. The ranged weapons are more complicated, I would say. Having my main, I don't want to jump ahead of the line here, so I'll wait. But I'll address that when
you can say it.
No, we're going around the horn.
Look, there's audio, there is no horn, Dan. Just say what weapon you use.
So I main the heavy bowgun, but I did change in this game to experience the longsword. It's my first time using that in the series. So even though I'm still a huge fan of heavy bowgun, I needed something a little bit more faster as I got to the end game solo, because I was having some real trouble with reload times and stuff like that, giving the Elder Dragons a window and stuff beyond the Elder Dragons a chance to blow me out. Like, so without that reload time and dealing with that kind of stuff, that helped a lot in taking them down.
Why do you think this game gave you more trouble solo than previous ones using a heavy bowgun?
I don't think it did. I think it gave me the same amount of trouble. Just at this point, I was just like, okay, well, this time I have enough materials to make a sword of the same quality. Let's give it a shot, you know? Let's try one of these other weapons. I was going to do that anyway, but it was going to be post-game. But I ended up doing it a little bit before that. And again, still mastering all the ammunition they're going to need later. Like, Agenat's one thing, but, like, making sure you got your poison stacks, depending on the gun. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, every gun is good at something. Like, one of them is going to be function better as, say, like a shotgun weapon that uses 3 kinds of spread ammunition. Others will focus on crowd controlling the monster so that you can pelt it with cluster bombs. They've all got their own little quirks, and you won't even know that usually until you've got the weapon in hand.
Do you run out of ammo, like, mid-mission with those things?
Yeah, absolutely. The good ammo, anyway.
Yeah, you've got like normal ammo that's like
you have
an infinite supply.
You have crap ammo, but if you're using that, you better have that thing almost dead, because it's not even going to feel it.
Weird. Cork, are you scared going to the endgame content with sticking with the gun then?
Absolutely.
Are you just crapping your
Well, I think that, like the heavy bowgun though, the reload on that is appropriately very slow, and you are just sitting there with your pants around your ankles as it's happening. It's quite awful. Like I built one just to see what the difference was like. I was like, I don't like this. Like it does a lot of damage, but you are so vulnerable. I'm kind of interested with the insect glaive. Like I have not messed around with that at all, but I like
conceptually what little I know about it.
Yeah, I think we found it in the cover story. We're going through the training area and like capturing footage, and I was dealing with some swords and having a fine but really frustrating time. And then we're going through the training area. It's like, Insect Glaive, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I've been riding that since the beginning. I absolutely love it, and I very much don't understand it. Is anybody else playing with Insect Glaive?
I started with the Sword and Shield and then switched to the Insect Glaive for a little bit, but I was going up against Bareth, and I don't think I figured it out against someone that was so defensive like that.
Right.
But I was enjoying it, and I do like that you have the vault mechanic with it.
Vaulting, Joe, have you seen this?
No.
You should check it out. As a fan of like stylish action games, and that is not what Monster Hunter is clearly, but I think it'd be up your alley because it's so effing cool to vault, like use the pole basically to like launch yourself in the air. Then you have two different rocket jumps essentially in the air. You can rocket jump, which is what I'm going to call it, which is not appropriate. And then every time I do my attack, if I hit the monster, then it keeps you in the air. And so it's just continual series of aiming your slices in the air, and if you keep hitting it, you just stay in the air for so long. It's awesome, and you end up riding that monster so much more than the average player.
I think I need to do that actually. So again, I'm jumping ahead in the line, but it's like as someone who is like still trying to get into this series, like I played it on 3DS and used the dual blades there and seemed to like it, and that seems to be. We were talking to Dan about this earlier. It's like seems to be a decent sort of hey, if you're trying to get into Monster Hunter, this is a good like the dual blades are fast.
Okay.
They sort of cut in a horizontal, like they have like a horizontal swath, so like precise aiming isn't really necessary. Anyway, what I'm getting at though is I'm struggling to actually like have a lot of fun in the combat because it's like so straightforward, just like third person action. And I ran into that. I also, on Dan's recommendation, tried out the longsword, the katana.
Yeah.
And I was running into the same things. Like, I think, even though I am a person who is, like, still trying to really sort of, like, latch onto the fun of Monster Hunter, I think I need to try one of the weirder or more complex weapons to really, like, make it sing for me.
That's interesting. That's why I switched off of the Sword and Shield to begin with, and I ended up landing on the giant hammer, which I thought was going to be very basic, but it actually has kind of these weird charging powers with it, and spinning attacks and stuff like that, and I've enjoyed it much more since I switched to that. It also does a crap load of damage.
Yeah,
nice.
That one, like with the Great Sword, it's really fun. Just it's a continual game of trying to get to that end game combo, right? It's just like, okay, 1, 2, oh, that was cut off. 1, 2, 3, all right, now I can hit it. And just having that constant loop within these larger battles is so much more fun. But that's the part. You guys, Lele and Dan, kind of the Monster Hunter experts, is it naive to say that some of these weapons are too simple?
I would say it's definitely with the longsword. I have not tried the dual blades in this current game, so I don't know if anything's different. But the longsword has some nuances that you definitely don't see if you're just doing thrusts and slashes. Like there's a move where you take the blade and hold it back and then shoot yourself sort of at the monster. If you aim it correctly, you'll shoot up into the air after it and do this crazy cool like katana, a very anime style slashing down that will cut him many times if you aim it right. So and can also enable a rodeo too, which is great. So
I love enabling rodeos.
Yeah, me too. So
wait, but the Insect Glaive has rodeo thing also, right?
The Insect Glaive is
everybody does, but because you spend so much time in the air, yeah, you end up landing on the thing a lot. Okay. Dan, can you help me out with the Kinsects? Like, I launched them.
I'm not even going to claim to be an Insect Glaive player here. So
there's this whole thing where you have like little buddies, and you send them out and you get like stat boosts. But I feel like there's more strategically, and especially trying to navigate the UI for the Kinsects at the Forge. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I guess I'll just stick with this little guy because it's fun to send out a giant scarab and have him give me stat boosts.
Basically, every weapon that isn't the dual blades, the longsword, or the sword and shield is going to have all kinds of crazy, unique aspects to it that the other weapons do not have that you will want to investigate before diving in.
Lele keeps sending me tutorial YouTube videos, and I keep meaning to get around to it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's really important, I think, to really like understand and master a weapon. You're not going to figure it out in a couple hours. There's a lot of, even the simpler ones, like there's a lot of the layers of understanding that go into those, like landing the combos in a certain order in like a certain number of times unlocks like different tiers of damage that you get, or you get buffs. And so like something, for example, the Insect Glaive I've never used because it was like too intimidating for me. I'm really rusty, and like it's hard for me to learn a new one. I have like played so many thousands of hours with like one or two weapons that it's just like I can't even.
What's your go-to?
I just always play with greatsword now, pretty much.
Really? Okay.
I used to be more well-rounded, but the ones that I can switch between easily are the simpler ones that I've spent the most time with. So like greatsword, longsword, hammer. That's just what I understand, but it's easier for me. I have trouble switching between things.
Does like the muscle memory from the 3DS games carry over pretty well into Worlds?
It's pretty much the same that it's always been. They've added like the charged slash for greatsword is expanded now, and there's I think 2 different ones, but you can you string them together, you get like different ends of the combo that you normally would.
Okay.
And like with greatsword, it's like less essential, I think, to like properly using it. Like if you can get any charged slashes to land, that's good. Like if you can get most of them to land, that's really good. If you're able to continuously get the like all 3 to land, like it's gonna die really quickly, whatever you're fighting. But things like with Insect Glaive and the Longsword, if you're not doing those combos and you're not unlocking the tiers, you might as well switch weapons because you're like not doing the damage you're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
With the Longsword, you have to hit the last hit of your thing in the combo multiple times. You fill your like spirit meter, and then you use that, and it's like a timed thing that you get so many hits right as it runs out, and then you have to land the last one of that to like unlock the next stage where you do it again, and you have to do it like 3 times, and then you get like a super awesome amount of damage.
What the hell's everyone else doing? Dan, this feels like playing StarCraft and like hearing a Zerg describe how they're playing. It's like, what game are you playing?
Yeah.
Spirit meter.
Hey, it's up on the top left.
Do I have that with Insect Glaive?
The Insect Glaive, what you're supposed to do, I haven't played with it. I probably am saying this a little wrong. You need to send your Kinsect out to 3 different locations on the monster. When you get all 3 colors, and then you can use those buffs. You want to use them so that you have like all of them at the same time. So when they run out, you have to redo it, but it's easy.
It's like a Chrono Cross summon.
Like once you learn what you're doing, right? And then again, like how you were saying, you like jump around in the air endlessly. You have to hit that last one, and again, I think it like levels up the damage you're doing. But also, if you make like energy drinks or dash juice or whatever they call it now,
juice,
then you like don't have a stamina that depletes anymore, so you can just like stay in the air forever. And just like,
why doesn't the game communicate this concept of like tiers of damage?
Have you tried the training area? It does sort of walk you through the process.
I've gotten to the training area with a couple weapons, and it just gives me a flash on the screen that's like, hey, try these button combinations. And I do. But like, I don't know anything about which one of those is going to be the best one or not.
Yeah, each weapon has like your normal like bread and butter combo that you're going to do all the time, but then also like that goal combo that you want to like land in order to like improve the damage.
But to Joe's point, I mean, we haven't really addressed it. Hey, I understand this most approachable Monster Hunter. There's still so much that's so confusing. Every time I play a game, I just learn so much more. It's like, what the hell is this whole system? What's going on? Sure. And I feel like the game does a good job overall of like having a path for new players to follow that isn't that bad, but it keeps you on this skinny plank, right? And then if you look off in either direction, you just see the sea of menus and systems. Like, I don't know what that is. I guess I'll ignore it. That's a really good point. That's exactly how it feels. Is that like just look at your feet and walk that narrow plank, because suddenly if you accidentally click on Manage Kinsect, you're going to get a tutorial screen that has you going like, what am I missing? I don't know if this is completely irrelevant or if I'm an idiot for not learning this. I have no idea.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, that you can take the approach either way, and I think it's okay. Like, if you wanted to play through that game only hitting, the triangle button with one of the early, easy, accessible weapons, and never know any of the mechanics behind them, you could do that, and you could do all the encounters multiplayer, and you would not even care about Kinsects or what they are, or decorations, or skills, or any of this stuff. It's completely doable. But, like, and as soon as you want to engage with those other things, you can.
What are decorations?
Well, those are going to be high rank stuff, but they're like gems in Diablo, sort of.
Oh boy. Okay. Pat O'Connor from Ireland here says, "Hey, first time Monster Hunter player here. I found myself getting a fighting game vibe from the emphasis on combo mastery and positioning. I love that after 10 hours of play, I could spend some time in training mode. I learned a new weapon, and I feel like it's an entirely different game. It's wonderful that the game encourages experimentation in that regard and facilitates it via a useful training area, something other games with deliberate combat systems don't have. Also, he loves the cats. And then someone else, let's see, this is Kyle Marshall, regrets making it, but he makes the Dark Souls comparison, Dan. What do you think of that? Is it just completely out of left field? Is it appropriate for like animation-based fighting?
I dislike the comparison because at the end of the day, they are very different games. However, and if you just want to communicate something that you mean like you have, concise combat that has weight to it, and you fight big bosses, yes, both games have those. They both have deliberate combat systems, and they are about slaying big bosses.
Also, Metal Gear 1.
But after that comparison, we're pretty much very different worlds. But if you just want to communicate the combat style in some fashion to someone who has no idea, you can use that as a reference point. I still would not. There's better ways to do it without using that word. You can talk about this game without talking about Dark Souls.
Don't say the D word. Barbara Welichek, who I think is written into every game club, she's amazing with Game Club, says, I'd never played a Monster Hunter game before. My only prior experience with the series was briefly playing the demo for Monster Hunter 3 on my 3DS, and I didn't like it. Number one point, this game controls like ass. I guess this is one of those, it's a feature, not a bug things, but it's frustrating when my character is constantly swinging at nothing, even when it feels like she should be connecting. Rebuttal to the ass comment from Barbara. Does this game control like ass?
Watch where you are.
So you don't think it controls like ass?
No.
I think it controls exactly as, again, we are not familiar with it as gamers today with these kind of styles. You will make the move exactly every time in the position you're doing it when you hit that button. And again, it's not like another game where you have an immediate response, like I hit the button, my bullet flies, it's instantly done.
Yeah.
It's like there's an animation involved with every attack and style, and you have to take that into consideration when you make your moves.
Dumb question.
I don't think working as intended means working as intended is good.
No.
Right?
I suppose not everyone will be a fan of the weighted combat.
I have a very, very simple, stupid question. Should I just be mashing my attack button as much as I am? Are you ever just kind of spamming it, or is everything supposed to be very deliberate?
It's generally very deliberate.
You want to watch what the monster does and match your actions accordingly. You can, again, like I said, I think it's super cool that you can button spam with certain weapons in this game, and still be a semi-efficient player in a multiplayer environment. But if you're really trying to do Monster Hunter, and you want to watch the monster's movements and make your move onto the weak point when you get the chance to.
It's definitely a game that will let you get away with a fair amount early on, but then you'll hit a wall where it's like, oh, this monster is not putting up with your bullshit. If you're used to spamming just your normal shots, like with the lipo gun, for instance, and being pretty sloppy about dodging and taking some hits that you probably shouldn't have, you will hit a wall where it's like, this is like a skill check. Where's that wall? That wall, I think that Anjanath is pretty early on there.
Huge wall for me, yeah.
Yeah, where you have to improve as a player if you're playing solo in particular, or else it will get very frustrating for you. And it's not, I don't think, the game's fault. It's just, I think it lets you, like I said, it lets you get away with a lot early on. You can develop some bad habits that you will regret if you're not playing well and pushing yourself to play efficiently.
And I got a couple points to that. If you don't want to play better or more efficiently, that's when multiplayer will take care of that problem for you.
Yeah,
and you can enjoy the entire game. It's super fun. The game is way better multiplayer, period. And another thing, if you do have playstyles that are bad, you can enforce those. You can enforce those later on with decorations. I know I love taking damage, right? I don't like to dodge a whole lot.
What?
And so I put skill gems in that make me take tons of reduced damage when I get hit. Because I know I'm going to get hit.
You just don't like moving?
No, it's just when I get in there, I go in. All right?
Okay, buddy. 3 out.
When I make my move, I tend to overstay my welcome.
Oh my god.
It's applicable in so many situations.
So,
wow.
A question I had for I guess for everyone, but I'm curious what the veterans have to weigh in on it too. Do you still think it's a good idea to not have any sort of health bar or indication on how you're doing on those monsters?
Isn't there now?
We have damage numbers now.
The damage numbers, which is mind-boggling.
Wait, those weren't there before?
Those weren't there!
So you didn't know what you were ever hitting them.
In fact, there's other visual indicators in this game that you didn't have before, like the little skull on him when he's limping away. That tells you it's time to trap this guy when he goes to sleep. He's in capture mode. He's in capture mode.
For how often I'm swinging and missing, I can't imagine not having a number to tell me when I'm doing well.
Or even if you're attacking a weak spot, that is doing more damage.
Yes.
That is something I kind of overlooked with the first couple monsters because they're easy enough. But then I realized, if that number is not orange, then I am wasting my time.
Right.
In terms of how much damage I'm doing.
It is an interesting line in the sand, Joe, of having the health bar. And I think we talked to developers who are out there in Japan about it, they wanted to be approachable. They wanted to put numbers in there, which some fans might not like. I think you can turn those off in the menus. But they see, putting that HP bar, that's crossing the line. Because they still want players to be looking at the monster and paying attention to the actual creature, not UI. And I guess in my mind, it's not so much that I want an overall health bar as I want the indicators that you guys are talking about. I want a good sense of if I am hitting the monster in a bad spot. I want to know if I'm doing the amount of damage that I should be doing. If my weapon is in a lot of games, if you try and hit a monster that's over leveled, and you see the health bar only go down a little, then you're oh, I need to go back and upgrade my gear, but without necessarily you have to get the crap kicked out of you a couple times before you're is my gear not where it should be? What am I doing? Are you looking at the little? What's that?
I said I have a few answers, I think.
Yeah.
So, firstly, as far as the weak spots go, they added this, which they didn't have before. In the book tells you what the weak spots of every monster are. You just have to pay attention and then remember.
Have you seen that, Joe? The weird diagram where it's a Mayan ruin or something?
No.
Okay, and it shows you the fillet of meats that you want to aim for in the monster. What? It's there's a guy next to a big stack of books in the town. Yeah, I've talked to the research people. He'll tell you, and it's also somewhere buried in the menu from hell, just your start menu. It's in there.
Joe, it's not pull up your map. It's not the bounty guys. Okay, it's behind them. I know there's two different research.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Sorry.
Okay. And then as far as visual cues to the damage that you're doing if you're making progress, those are there. You just have to look. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is that this game is very unique in that it's a lot about ecology more than it's just bullet sink bosses.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point is that you're paying attention to the cues and seeing what's breaking up. Maybe this sounds too convoluted or elitist or something, but that is what the game is for. Is learning those patterns, learning, hey, I can break off this claw, spending the time to break off all the different spots, cut off things you can cut off. They have frills, the frill will get droopy, so you know that they're almost dead. They all have so many pieces that you can break off, and so many visual cues, and they start drooling and limping.
Yeah,
and you can't tell that it's gonna die.
Winking at you. I've seen some of those, but I guess for me, and this makes it sound like I'm really having a bad time or complaining a lot, and really these are just things that I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. Because I see when they I assume when they're drooping, it's oh, I've been doing some decent damage, but I don't know what I've been doing that's necessarily been doing that damage. The numbers that are higher. There's that.
But I understand, and it is okay, I hit it once, and it does, and an 8 pops up, and then I hit it in a different spot, and a 20 pops up, and obviously that's better, but I don't know how much 20 is in the overall, is it 1,000 that I'm trying to get to?
It's always terrifying when you've been wailing on this game. So much of the game, I feel and I'm playing it like an idiot, I'm sure, but it's keep whacking this thing. All right, here I go. But after I've been whacking at this thing for 20 minutes, then suddenly you see a Anjanath or Rathalos fly in and do 600 damage, and the monster's still alive. What? I have that much more to go? Good God!
I mean, there's a reason why the quests are 50 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's if you can even accomplish it, especially for the harder ones, especially for the G rank stuff in the old games or high rank. I'm sure I haven't gotten that far, of course. But, it's supposed to take a long time. It's supposed to be one big fight, each monster is supposed to be an boss.
A 45-minute fight.
Yeah, I mean, the little ones at the beginning of the game, when you have no gear, will take that long. Once you have really good gear, you can kill it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They have probably, thousands of HP. It's just That's
You gotta get used to
what it is.
That's the game.
I mean, it is the game. Like, if you are super overpowered, you'll kill them quickly. If you really master your weapon, you'll kill them quickly. But if you just don't know what you're doing and aren't learning, and it's not that you're doing it wrong, there's just a lot to learn. You know.
Yeah, and I think
changing those things would kind of break what the game is. I think I do agree with what Capcom is saying in that regard.
I feel like I'm just looking for a little more feedback, a little more. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
And one thing that I have noticed, I have gotten better at kind of seeing the cues as it goes, and like, okay, he's limping now as he runs away or whatever, so I'm getting closer. But there have been several times where I'll hit him and he'll die, and that is a big surprise to me that it was, like, oh, okay, now it's over. I didn't realize I was that close to it.
Yeah.
If you are doing damage in if it's a consistent damage output, you'll eventually drive the monsters through all of its stages, including going back to the nest and rest. Only if you really change your damage output in a big way will you just randomly kill them. But I guess it does happen. But probably had some crazy burst damage. And along those lines, if you're having trouble doing damage, especially in the early game, consumables are very, very important. Do not overlook consumables, bombs, all that kind of stuff can do absurd damage to these creatures.
I'm very confused, but good segue, Dan. So Dustin Smith from Columbus, Ohio writes in and says, are you using mini traps or tools? I feel like they might help out during hunts, but that is one of the systems in the game that I haven't really figured out. Yeah, I don't know what all that crap is.
They're super important.
Yeah.
Bring several along. Bring along the crafting materials to craft more of them while you are walking around on a hunt.
What are they?
What are the good ones? Pitfall traps, shock traps, barrel bombs, both large and small. There's poisoned meat, which I've never used. There's a lot of stuff like that.
Dan, you're a very big play your way kind of guy, but it's fair to say we're doing it wrong by not focusing on these items.
You can do whatever you want. I keep telling you that, and it'll work, and you can still have fun. I'm saying,
okay, I turned off my PS4.
If you're having trouble, I
want to hear from Optimizer Dan, and not not like everyone's welcome Dan. Yeah,
okay.
Shift into Optimizer.
So Optimizer Dan will bring, as Lay said, bring the maximum amount of everything and the stuff to craft more in the field. This one's cool because you can actually restore your stuff from home, when you're out in the field from your campsite.
Yeah, you used to not be able to do that.
So you've got access to everything you could possibly need. You can make all those kinds of crazy bombs. I've been with multiplayer groups now. Pin the monster down. Everybody sets up bombs. We're talking 6 bombs around the guy.
Bomberman.
Then you pull the trigger on that thing. That's 2,000 damage just on that. Before the monster even wakes up, and then you start really beaming on it, right? And everybody's got shock traps. You always want to go for the capture at the end. Everyone just gathers around, waits till it's asleep, put the shock trap down, and everyone just starts throwing those tranq bombs. Then boom, there's the cap. Really easy.
Do they explain traps and bombs at some point, in the tutorial?
There's a capture quest.
I must. Okay. I think that's my next quest. So
in that you should be doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, but Jeremy Bull writes in from East Lansing here. He says, first off, I'd like to say thank you for coming back Game Club, and secondly, I'd like to thank you for choosing what could very possibly be my game of the year for 2018. I just wanted to say that capturing is way more satisfying than killing. Should I be focusing on this? What is capturing?
You get more for capturing in most cases. Certainly, you get more knowledge. I'm not sure exactly what the ratio is, but you get more materials for capturing.
And it's easier because all you have to do is find the sweet spot between when you've done enough damage to capture it, and then when they go back to the nest and heal, then they get super duper aggressive. It's their last, hurrah, trying to stay alive. So you don't have to do that fight if you capture
that last 20%, you don't need to pretty much cut them off.
So is there ever an incentive to kill instead of capture?
Certain objects come from carves and pieces only, and again, they'll be on that Mayan diagram.
Okay.
We'll have to show you, but so if you're looking for that really specific carved piece or something, you might choose to kill instead.
But you guys just default capture everything.
Try. Once you get really overpowered, you'll accidentally kill the monsters more often than you will be struggling to kill a monster.
Okay, this is very Pokemon. And so I should I'm very stupid. Is it the net? Is it the
They made it really easy. To do the cap, all you need is a shock trap and
or a
tranq
pitfall
bombs.
trap. Or you might even be able to use the environmental traps now.
I have not tried to cap with environments.
Well, okay. So I've had it. I've played with friends that have laid down traps, and then it's getting fried. Yeah. Okay, what's step 2 for capturing it?
Just throw tranq bombs at it.
throw
at its
tranquilizer.
head specifically.
And then once it falls asleep, it'll just say, capture.
It's instant. Like, it should happen within seconds of the trap going down.
Yeah, you have to hit it 3 times, I think, historically. 3 trank bombs.
Okay, so trank bombs to capture. Jeff, can we zoom out a little bit? How are you feeling about this game?
I'm enjoying it, and I definitely, there's still a lot that I don't understand, but at this point I want to, and I want to learn more, and I want to play more. I think I have a good understanding of the core loop and the progression that comes after, doing the hunts and stuff, and all of that is super interesting to me, and I want to try all the different weapons and stuff, so.
And, it brings back an earlier point, actually, the Dark Souls comparison.
Yeah.
I would say one thing that is alike in both games is that they both have a point where they click for the player or the user, that it's like, I really like this now. Now I'm getting it. Like, there's always that point where it can be it can be a tough road to go on. But once you hit that point, you're in, right? You're in.
And I'm kind of confused about what it is about the game, even after 16 hours or so, like what it is that is clicking, because I like it as well, but there are times, especially going up against that Anjanath, where I'd spend an entire evening and not get anything done. And it's like, if I'm in it for just seeing numbers go up, I could have reached level 3,000 in Diablo 3 right now. Like, what is it that's satisfying about these long-form fights where numbers barely go up after you've grinded them night after night after night?
Go ahead.
This is how I usually explain that, is that you don't level up and make a better armor and then you're, like, stronger or better. It's like a get good situation. Like, you don't actually level up, you just learn what that monster does and how to dodge it and when to dodge it. So, like, that's, I think, where it's satisfying, is once you're like, oh, if I dodge now and then hit it here, and then it becomes super easy. Like, the first time I think that you like, go out and, like, don't get hit a single time by that monster and kill it quickly, that, I think, is for people when they're like, oh, and to do that, I think that this game sort of, I have a few complaints about this game, even though it's super great. Like, you need to do the same fight multiple times. The way that this game is setting up the low rank stuff is sort of like, hey, kill this monster. Oh, this other monster showed up while you were killing that monster. Go kill that monster. Oh, another monster showed up. And if you only do those sequentially, it's going to be really hard and you're not going to really figure out the game. Like,
so do the optional quests.
Yeah, you're going to want to do those. And, like, especially, I think going after, like, making one armor set of low rank, whatever you pick,
focus on that early.
Just do one, and then you'll sort of, as you're doing that, both you'll have an armor where you, like, won't die instantly once you get to Anjanath if he hits you, and also, you usually have to do probably, 5 times to make a full set.
Now, see, that is something I think that they've actually done a great job changing in this one with the investigation system, which is just like, you're killing the monster, but the quest has different elements and modifiers, but you get more stuff at the end of it. So when I want a set of X type, I'm like, well, I need to kill this stupid monster. I'll take an investigation, and then I'll get all those rare materials and all that junk I need from their quest rewards. So I only need to kill it 3 times, maybe 4 times.
Yeah, I think I had enough stuff to make the full set of, like, great Jagras stuff or whatever after 3 ventures.
Well, I worry about, like, you learned how to fight great Jagras. That's my point.
That one, not particularly, just because, like, I feel like that monster doesn't have a whole lot of wrinkles.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I knew how to fight great Jagras the first time I fought. He swallows crap and then runs away.
Yeah. You could beat it, yeah.
But I love hearing fans describe the appeal of this. Like, Lily, I think you had a great description of it, because, like, I want to get there. I want to play that game, the one that is, like, very observation based, very deliberate, and but after 10 hours you don't think you feel it yet with this one. And some of this, like, a lot of this is on me. Like this, I am trying not to, like, voice a lot of this on the game. I think the game's biggest problems are just in, like, communication and interface.
Yeah.
I think one of the trickiest things is also one of the game's strengths is that you can play for 10 hours, and if you have picked randomly one of the 14 weapons because you thought it looked cool based on either experimenting with it in the training area or watching the video, if you picked a weapon that is just not clicking with you and you think that you have to keep going with that, you're making a mistake. Like, I would recommend switching it up often in that early stages because every weapon is so different from the others. Like, I messed around with the hammer and Like, it's super fun in a different way. It feels like a vastly different experience. So I think for some players that are just like, I just not feeling this dual swords, change to a different weapon. Because I think that's the easiest way to see a completely different experience.
But can you guys help me, Lily? You talk about like grinding it out and getting an armor set early on. I don't want to do that because I don't like listening to your advice. No, I don't want to do that because it's like I fought Pookie plenty, but I just feel like he's a turd monster. I don't want armor from a turd monster. You know what I mean? I'd rather have the scatter shot with some things with higher stats. But is it not as bad as I think to just go for that lower monster armor and then upgrade the bejesus out of it?
You're gonna want to make like multiple armor sets as you're playing through the game, but you need to make one armor set. You won't be able to get to high rank, I don't think, without making one full armor set.
Like a complete unified thing.
Just up head, a chest, an arms.
I have
like whatever.
a scatter shot of crap that I'm
That's
wearing.
fine. I mean, you're missing out on perks, but like
It seems like the Barrett stuff seems like it's got a pretty deep, like, I don't know, I got that recently. That seems like it's a good, like, base level defense stuff.
Okay, I don't know.
So early on, you really don't have to worry about that. Like, you can mix and match all you want. Just make sure you keep everything upgraded with your armor orbs, and watch the colors. Like, basically, the higher tier, like defaulting, the higher tier the armor is, the better. So just keep looking for it from from white to green to whatever the next, like, Diablo color coded system of rarity, and then just upgrade the crap out of them with your armor orbs that you're getting from doing quests and bounties. You don't have to really worry about set bonuses until about the end of low tier. Okay. And that's going to become a factor then, and that's going to be a big factor going forward for the rest of the game. Where if you have 3 to 5 pieces of a set, you'll get those bonuses, and you want to trigger those.
So what? Like, I mentioned the Barrett stuff, but like what is the good armor early on? Like what should Hanson's first complete set?
Please. Whatever doesn't really.
Don't you know? What name is that?
Literally, as long as you're upgrading it, as long as you're keeping it fully upgraded.
Jeff Cork, what's that?
Bone set is a super easy one to get, and I had good luck with it. It's got nice fire resistance. It's good against dragons.
Where's the bone stuff?
Forage for the bone piles. So you can get it very early on too, and I used it all throughout the low quest, and did not feel like, oh boy, I'm not ready for stuff.
That's helpful. Okay. Also, something I did, you wait through the menus, you can find a way to hide your head armor. Oh, interesting. Because my biggest complaint, like, I actually like the loop of the, like, kill monster, get stuff, craft armor. I'm enjoying that. But all of the armor makes me look like a clown. I hate the Jagras armor,
like bananas everywhere.
Yeah, no, you just look ridiculous. And maybe like later monsters get
you don't get to look badass until they have that whole like thing going on.
But like that is
like the Anjanath, I think, looks cool.
That is the main thing preventing me from like really going all in on a set of armor right now. It's just like they all look so dumb. So I put the one on that seemed like the best stats and hit it. So I don't have to look at my dumb head.
I've always been pretty conservative about making armor sets. I usually I feel like I'm good enough at the game that it's less critical for me.
Okay.
So I usually make the ones that it's like, okay, this is good enough to at least keep me from being one hit to get me to high rank. And then when I'm in high rank, there's like, maybe I'll make like 3 armor sets. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I just do the 3 that I want. The one I've always made in the past, I don't know if it exists anymore, so I don't really talk about it. But if you use any healing item, it heals your whole party as long as they're in the same zone.
Oh.
And because I'm a very cautious player and I heal a lot and I kind of hang back, that's the one that I've always done because it makes me more helpful support when I do multiplayer, which is really all I do. I just help my friends. So
right, and
that makes sense.
And complain about how scared you are in the headset, from my experience.
Yeah. Well, that was I'm embarrassed. You told me you could cheese. But like, I know that Dan Tech has been griping a lot about Kushala Daora, who is a tricky fight.
Well, I mean, I had about 1,000 YouTube comments telling me how to beat him after. So I know how to beat him now. Don't worry about it. How do you beat him? you got to poison him to get rid of him.
And then break his
Via YouTube.
Or you could just craft the armor set that gives you wind resist so that it doesn't affect you at all.
Okay, we're way beyond that dragon now. Okay,
but just like that's what I use the armor sets for. It's more like for like getting those specific perks that I know that I want to avoid the annoying things that I don't like. So that when I'm helping my friends, I don't have to help them kill 15 Kushala Daoras struggling the whole time. You know.
I don't even want to say that name 3 times.
But talking about playing with friends, there are a lot of emails. Drew Sherman. Shut up. Drew Sherman, Caleb from Ohio, Chris from Los Angeles, Matt McKenna. A lot of people are just. Oh, here we go. Chris from Los Angeles just says, "Hey, could you guys explain plainly and clearly how to play with your friends in Monster Hunter? Getting started with friends last night was more trouble than it should have been. We scoured the internet with no real instructions. It sucks.
It's super confusing.
What the hell is going on? How could they blow this core component? Like, just trying to figure out, okay, I'm in a squad, but I'm in a different online session, and even if you manage to figure out that tangled web, then you can run into the problem that Caleb from Ohio ran into, which is, why on earth do I have to watch a cutscene first before my squad can join up and tackle this monster?
That is an issue for going through the story, absolutely. It will. I will say that it does get much better, and it has no effect on investigations or optional quests or stuff like that. So, but yeah, for the story stuff, that cutscene decision is random and weird. But
it's super frustrating. Like, if you haven't run into it, it's like if your friend, you want to help your friend out, and you're doing a mission that you've already completed, it won't let you join their session until that cutscene is completed, and you don't get any indication of when that's going to happen. So you're basically just hitting, join. What? Hold on, join.
Have you not played co-op yet, Joe? No, it's a nightmare.
I've been solo the whole time so far.
No, that's your first mistake.
Oh yeah, that's what you tell me, but who else is playing Monster Hunter at 6 a.m.?
I am.
Okay.
So where's our Game Informer guild or whatever?
This is one of my things.
I don't know what that is.
I'm like no expert at all. This is all that I think I've figured out. Okay. So how the online session works is that it like populates you into an online session automatically, so that when you're out on quest, you can send an SOS flare. And I think those are the people that can.
And how big is that pool? It's only 16,
like 16, right?
So hang on. Okay. So the SOS flare is not game specific unless you set it to be. The SOS flare is like anyone.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
like
it's not online session.
That's all I do is I just go in SOS games all day. It has nothing to do with the session you're in. Each session holds up to 16 players that can have 4 players in any given quest.
So if I want to team up with my coworkers, first we need to get in the same online
The
session.
easy way to do
No,
that.
you don't.
Okay, actually that's true.
Well,
but it would be easiest.
that's the easy way to do it.
How should you do it?
We should make a squad called GI or whatever.
I have a game club squad. I don't know what to do with it.
invite
Okay, it's
anyone,
literally
right?
Lillian.
I have an important
And
thing
then-
that I learned.
When you load in, you just say go to the squad game, and you're in the squad.
When you're in a squad, you can set which one is your active squad. And if you have one set as your active squad, like in the outer PS menu, where you can just like look at your friends list and then be like join session.
Sure.
It only shows you the people that are in your squad, which I found was really confusing. So unless I have some weird menu thing going on in my...
In general, a game where
It's weird.
everybody
That was
stresses
weird.
co-op is key, they blew it, right? This effing sucks.
I mean, I think about the cutscene thing. The rest of it, I don't have a problem with.
Really?
Once you like figure it out once, and you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. But it was harder for me to figure out than I think it should have been. I don't really understand
Dan,
why.
can you help me out even with I like playing solo, but I'm very bad at it, and so I constantly fire off the SOS flare. Like the second I'm in that expedition camp, it's just firing left and right into the air.
So I believe you can change your settings. Make sure that it's on like a global list.
It is, but here's the frustrating part: where there's a timer for the quest that's ticking down.
10 minutes.
Wait, I'm just talking about like the overall quest. I was
5 minutes.
say like 50 minutes for taking out Anjanath or whatever. And I'll run around in circles for 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's like no one's coming to my SOS flare. I don't know how much longer I can dick around.
That's the weird. The weird part is it should be almost instant. Like I
Really?
don't understand what the. I guess again, I'm not completely up on this, but like when I get into an SOS game, it's within the first 2 minutes and it's full group. So
There's times where it is, but there's so many times too where I fire it up and then just no one comes. And it's that frustrating thing of like, all right, I guess I'll go solo because I don't want to waste this time because I know this fight's going to take forever. It's just frustrating to.
Everyone looks and they say, "Oh, it's Hanson again. Forget it."
Do they say that? Did you hear them say that?
They've all been
Well, I
saying
think
it.
if you're in the gathering hub, you can set it so that it's just like matchmaking for you. Can't you?
Or a
Like,
full squad?
you
Oh, interesting.
squad?
So I can go and I don't have to dick around waiting for the SOS recipients? Wait,
no.
No, should I lie?
what's the gathering hub? Oh, Joe.
You gotta ride the elevator
That
up to the
That
gathering.
is to enjoy the same. That's it's you don't ever have to engage with it to engage with it in multiplayer. It's just
Because I've been there once and was like, I don't know what this is. Something about arenas. I'm going back down.
all 16 people in the game can go up there and it has all the same facilities. as downstairs. It's the multiplayer hub for a game.
So even if you're playing co-op, you won't run around the town with other people.
Right.
You don't see them unless you're on a quest or in the gathering hub where you can like arm wrestle with them and stuff.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, which is helpful, I guess.
In that case, I may actually, because like I always just start games where it's like private session, just me, no one else.
Right.
Who cares?
Who cares?
But okay.
Let's see. Willie Plum also writes in and says, which low-tier monster is everyone's favorite? Mine is definitely Toby Kadachi, the electric lizard flying squirrel thinger. I think he's my favorite so far, too. Anjanath, I just want to stab in the eyeball, but Toby Kadachi, I think, is objectively cool and not that much of a pain in the ass to fight.
He's new and cool, and I was scared.
Very right.
He looks like that jerk that Steve Buscemi voices in Monsters Inc.
That's who he reminds me of. What? Randall?
Yeah, it reminds me of Randall.
Flying squirrel with electricity.
I don't know why. He just has a Randall vibe.
Well, I guess he is voiced by Steve Buscemi. That makes sense. Do you guys have favorites so far for the low rank?
Pookie.
He reminds me of
So gross.
the very mixed up chameleon. Maybe as a fellow parent, you'll appreciate that one. So that's the one that I've done the most.
Yeah, plus his tail, again, fills up with purple farts and he farts at you.
I like the design.
Super cute.
Like
Yeah.
any poisoning creature in any game
Oh, yeah.
is just automatically a crap bird in my mind.
That was my first death in that
really?
game.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. He poisoned me and then hit me. I felt real gypped actually.
Whatever. Jeff, anything that stands out for you so far?
I think Kobo Tadachi, whatever. Flying electric squirrel guy.
He is, I think, the coolest, and it's a new one. So, like, I think that I only fought him the one time with you, and I don't think either of us knew what we were doing. So it was a little scary and frustrating. But I'm excited to now that I like have armor, like go fight him some more and figure him out.
He's cool. When you fight him, and then you have to run away because you have to heal or whatever, and then you're looking around. It's like, where is he? And all of a sudden, he's flying in behind you somewhere.
The first time I saw him do that, I was like, what?
Yeah. I really love fighting Paolumo too in the Coral Highlands, just because he's flying so much, and with the insect glaive already spending so much time in the air, spending that time in the air while he's in the air and like trying to ride him, it's like
That sounds
just
fun.
for another Pixar reference. It feels like when they're riding the manta ray and like Finding Dory, just like riding this flying thing as I'm flying on top of it is so cool.
He has one of the best intro videos, too, where he just seems like the super chill dad. And then you're like, I'm going to get you. And he's like, rah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I've been
so hot, it's like I'm
looking
there.
forward to that one. And I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
But he's like so cute.
The Coral Highlands are awesome.
I want to have that monster like as my real life pet.
You can do it if you want it. Or
Hey, speaking of pets, I have a question about this game. As someone who generally prefers to play solo, is it possible to have like a party of palicos helping you out, or is it basically just like you and your buddy?
I think it isn't just one.
You should check out the tips for soloing on GameInformer.com because it describes how to do this. But yes, so in each mission you can have up to 4 you and 3 other characters. So you take your palico, right?
Yeah.
You've got to do the expedition quest in that area to unlock that palico tribe. All right. So once you've done that, you can recruit another palico when you're out in the field. You can't have it like at your home base.
Oh, okay.
So that's would be wild.
So that's happened to me a couple of times. And then there's like the monsters that you can get.
Having completed that quest chain will also let you get a monster. So that's a pretty decent deep squad for a solo player.
Okay. Because like what bothers me about it is like I kind of wish that there were a way to like I wish you could have like palicos that are just sort of party member stand-ins, right? That I wouldn't have to go and like go out in the field and like dig up one of those tail riders or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I could just say like, hey, I want to bring my trap palico along on this one.
It would be a nice quality of life improvement because at a certain point you're like, all I'm doing is looking for an icon on the map, teleporting to that camp, walking up to it. There's no friction there aside from wasting 2 minutes of walking. So it's not difficult to do that. It would just be nice if you could be like at your camp, hey, come with me.
Yeah, exactly. Or even have like a squad that like they don't even need to be at your camp. Just have them be like in your room or whatever. And you're like, okay, here's my buddies, and I'm taking you two and my normal guy. And
Joe, I think what you're looking for is just the SOS stuff. Like playing with just it basically is
those
just
are
a
other
party.
people.
I don't have to talk to them. That's fine.
You can pretend they're AI. That's basically what you're looking for.
AI that are sending you emojis like, you idiot.
Yeah,
Stop it.
And with crazy Japanese names. Yeah.
So this is what I recommend. Like, you can complete all your quests with other people. Just go look for an SOS player and just do quests with other people. Like,
will that register as a completed quest for me?
as long as the mission hasn't gone on for, it'll tell you. It'll be like, this mission has gone on too long. You won't get the quest rewards.
So I can skip story quests? I can jump ahead?
I think it will only let you look at quests that you've done up to or the one that you're on.
Oh, really? I didn't know you could do the one that you're on. That's very helpful.
Yeah. So, certainly. There's no way I could have done the last quest I was on solo, not easily.
Okay. People aren't going to be mad if I'm not on like voice chat or whatever.
No, they don't care. I have not used voice chat at all.
Okay.
I mean, you guys are going to have like a fairly singular mindset where it's like, there's the monster, let's go get him. And like, you might run into a problem like the person is determined to trap it, but at that point they should communicate using some of the like built-in text stuff, like, let's set a trap. Yeah. Otherwise, feel free to wail on it until it's dead.
And while you're in the menus looking for the let's set a trap emote, the monster has been murdered.
Does it automatically say it now if you lay a trap?
I think it does.
It pings. It pings, I think, automatically. And it's, everybody knows, like, when the thing is sleeping anyway, which is when you're going to set the trap, nobody just walks up to it and hits it. You wait for all four guys to get there.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think everybody knows that, Dan Tech.
Not everyone at this table.
The first hit that you land when it's asleep does a lot more damage than normal, so you want to have everyone charge up and like simultaneously unleash or trap it.
Okay, gotcha. Just the UI for communicating, I think it's fun. You can like customize those sayings and stuff. Good opportunity for jokes there with your friends. But just that radial dial for menus, that was a game changer when I realized that, like, not only do I not have to hold down L1 to switch between my potions and crap, I can just hit left and right on the D-pad. That's very helpful. But then also realizing that, okay, if I just set that radial dial, I can just, in theory, hold on L1 and quickly do it. But I still feel like it's inconsistent when it's triggering those potions. What am I doing wrong with the analog stick flick to not let those potions go? Is that how you guys are healing? Is just radial dial L1?
I can't use that for anything really. It's
Why?
not. It's just like not in my like. I haven't figured it out. My hands don't like.
It's not in your hands yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like so like a muscle memory thing for me to scroll through the old way.
Okay.
And like I have been playing long enough to know what item I'm probably going to need, and I just have that there.
Gotcha. Dan, how are you feeling?
Compared to 3DS, man, like, it feels like, they took the ball and chain from around my leg and the shackles off my hand. Like,
But you're still in a prison, so how do you do it?
I'm not, though. It feels like I'm not. It's so much. It's just insanely better, and gosh, I hope the series continues to stay on the core console.
So how are you healing?
By scrolling through.
Okay, you scroll through.
Just because of force of habit. Like, that's
Okay, so
the way
clicking.
Yeah, I don't use a radial.
You don't.
I use the
It's
radio
great
for
when
the
it works.
SOS thing and like the gestures, but not for the item.
You should check it out, Court, because it's something about how you have to flick first and not let go of L1 until you flick, and then it works. When it works, it's super quick and amazing. It's just inconsistent with my flick. Anyways, we got Ronald from Nebraska, and he's wondering, he's like, hey, I've never played a Monster Hunter before, but I can say that my 30 hours spent with it have been golden. My biggest fail came with the Diablos, as I failed that quest 5 times before getting it. What monsters gave you a hard time? I currently have a beef set out on that Diablos.
Stuff like Diablos certainly was something to adapt to with the heavy bowgun, because you certainly can't reload when he goes underground, because you're going to get hit and killed.
Oh, he goes underground. I haven't seen it.
He tunnels.
Shoots up.
Oh, Tremor style. Okay.
Yeah, he's a nasty customer.
He has the coolest intro video, though, by far.
Oh, really? Yeah.
What is I don't want to. Well, are we talking? He's still a low level quest, right?
Is he? I didn't keep.
I haven't seen it. Okay, it's awesome. All right, that's exciting. For me, it's Anjanath. I just think that dirty SOB. I hate his fire breathing. It just destroys me. Like, basically one hit with that fire breath and I'm out. He does, like, the weird puffs where there's, like, a little bit of fire leaking around the sides, and I'm always terrified of it, but it's never the full blast. And also, it's just a dick move, because I'm flying above him with my insect glaive, and for so many of the monsters early on, it's not an issue to, like, launch over him, slice it up, and keep going. But I swear I will have clearance over this SOB, Anjanath, but it'll still damage me as he's charging. Help me, Dan.
So, something to think about that just came up as you were describing that. It's like a really weird way to think about fighting monsters in this game. It's sort of like, compared to, like, Punch-Out. They have a window when they're doing a move that if you do a move, they knock them right down. Like, a lot of even the really powerful monsters in the game will have a telegraphed attack that if you can hit them while they're warming up for it, you will knock them down and open up a huge attack window, even when everything is telling you, I have to get away right now because he's going to unleash this thing. Once you get that timing down, you'll learn how to take down Class Joe.
Interesting. Jeff, have you had a tough time with some of these monsters?
Barrett was the first one, just because he was so tanky, and like I said, I was trying to use the insect glaive without understanding it. And I think I ended up failing that one. I think I ran out of time on that one.
Oh, wow.
But then I came back with a hammer. Everything was fine.
You can just face him.
He was real slow for me with blades because they don't do much damage, and I was deflecting off of him.
All the time.
And I was whetstoning it too, and it would still
As you get better weapons, they'll get sharper.
Okay.
So
And they'll stay sharper for longer.
Ryan from Minneapolis is wondering if there's a bigger jerk in the game than Anjanath. I haven't gotten further, but I'm going to go with absolutely not Ryan. That's probably the hardest and most sticky monster.
so much worse.
Really?
Oh,
so I'm going to look back at Anjanath and laugh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to want to bury Anjanath.
Really?
Yes.
My little sweetheart in comparison.
Yeah.
Oh, is this going to be rough, Dan?
Holy monster.
Anjanath will seem like an enjoyable evening in a hot tub with a glass of wine.
Oh, I don't want it. Both Wes Bates and Lucas Ledoux wrote in just really admiring the ecosystem of the game and having the monsters interact and all the crazy ways where one monster will help you out or just one monster will come up and the other monster will run away, yada, yada, yada. Dan, you seem less in love with that.
It can get really icky. You talk about frustration. Yeah, when you're really trying to get that one monster down and it's a very difficult monster, and then two more incredibly difficult monsters show up and you can't be anywhere near that. So you just want to be as far away from that as possible.
Is that what you do strategically? You just go hide behind a tree for a little
It really depends on the situation. But yeah, in some situations you may have to. If late game monsters start going at it, if you're anywhere within the blast radius of several of their abilities, you'll just explode. So you don't want to be there.
Okay.
But at other times, it's really great to take advantage of this. Let's say one monster shows up and they start going at it. Let them fight a little bit, let them soften each other up, and then plan your next move.
Man, okay.
It's cool. I just wish it wasn't all the time.
It is a lot.
It's one thing. It's fascinating to me about how watching the monsters. Some are really territorial, right, and very aggressive, and others will just they'll see another monster and be like, I want to get out of here. Others Rathalos will be like, oh, you're up in my nest? All right, well, that's it. You're going down. I don't care. I'll chase you all over the map. You're dead.
Yeah. And every monster seems to love that Rathalos nest. They always just scurry out there to hang out.
They love
Isn't
that
that cool up there?
It's really great up there, isn't it?
On the ecosystem front, in previous Monster Hunters, did they have the expedition option, just the way to be out in the world without necessarily a goal or a quest?
Destiny patrols.
Some of them.
They were mainly fueled by quests that would make you go collect the junk that you'd be doing in an expedition. You just take a quest to go get 10 berries.
Yeah,
or something dumb like that.
Okay, because I spent a little bit of time just doing expedition, killing a monster and then sort of being hey, I need to gather one more mushroom to finish this bounty, and just I'll spend 20 minutes just sort of doing some rounds, knocking some of those things out. I guess it's not specific to the ecosystem, but it's about the world and exploring it. And I've been enjoying it.
Cool. The fun thing about the expeditions too is that it's just kind of a rotating cast of random monsters that'll pop in.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're on a quest, you'll know, okay, it's always going to be a Barrow-Tourist. He's always going to be accompanied by this monster, their paths may cross. But in an expedition, it's drawing from a random pool of monsters you've encountered. So you're okay, here's Barrow. Oh, whoa, what are you doing here? And someone will swoop in you're completely unexpecting. Which is a fun surprise to see these things from different ecosystems kind of interacting occasionally.
Yeah.
And I would absolutely say, if the time limit is intimidating to you, the expedition has no time limit. So if you just want to chill with your friends and hang out and see what monsters come in and leave the environment, that's the chill mode.
And you don't get quest rewards for that,
right?
But if you kill a monster, you can still carve up the monster.
Exactly.
That's all still counts. You'll still get research points and all that stuff.
So you're not on a 50-minute timeline, but you get a notification will be hey, Barrett's about to leave the area.
Yeah.
So it's that's kind of keep moving.
Yeah. And this loosely ties into that, just with the items and stuff. Christian from Modesto, California says, Monster Hunter World is my first Monster Hunter game, and I decided to really dig into it. So far, I've been having a blast. It seems to be the consensus. Outside of Barbara, is everyone's just wow, this is really fun. My question for more veteran players, should I sell off stuff I collect for monsters or items I pick up that I don't need?
Gold is not an issue later on. So unless you're having trouble with crafting an item, just keep everything just in case you want to make something later.
Well, I was having a tough time with inventory management, but it turns out I could just shove all my crap in some box.
Put all your stuff in the box at home.
I did not realize I could do that.
Lovely,
Oh
do
my
you sell stuff?
What are we gonna do with you?
I didn't know that there was this box that I could store everything in.
It shouldn't be an issue anymore. I think they allow you to have a lot of stuff
You can
in your
stack
item box at home.
infinitely. Like I have like 700 Toadstools or something in my. You can just keep stacking.
Yeah, like in the old game, I would run out of inventory space after several thousand hours of doing the same quests over and over again. But like,
That was Capcom's way of sending you a message.
But Lovely, you were nodding when Dan was talking. Do you not sell your stuff?
I never sell a single thing.
Oh, okay.
And like, you will have so much money. Your money will just be like maxed out before.
Yeah. I love that it's Zenny, by the way.
What's the point of having money and research points? Like, why have two currencies?
Yeah, what is that? And then also vouchers. What the hell's going on?
So vouchers is just a free meal. Okay, that's all. It is, all right. It's not a big deal. It's sort of I think grandfathered in it probably because there's really no point to it, right? I get it. It's like a bonus you get sometimes.
I mean, the meals are like $100. There's hardly.
Well, the voucher also feeds everyone in your party.
Yeah.
So that's the bonus there.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Corey. You're welcome.
And so the research points will become more useful as you move through the game. They seem kind of stupid now, I agree, but they give you sinks to use them on as you wish later on in the game. The resource point sinks, basically stuff to spend them on.
So I should be, even if I know where the monster is, looking at every footprint, doing all that crap.
No, you don't have to do that. I'm just saying you're going to get more research points, but you're going to have more stuff to do with them.
Okay. Gotcha. Here's a question for Jeff Cork from Casey from New Hampshire. New Hampshire? He says, which is a What About Bob reference.
Just say, especially for Jeff Cork.
That's true. I was wondering if you all, especially Jeff Cork and the rest of the community, think this is a good game to play while listening to podcasts, or if, while grindy, the game is too combat intensive to be able to focus on both. I'm currently looking for a new game to play while I catch up on my weekly podcast, and I'm hoping this game could serve me well.
Oh, this is a podcast game.
Yeah,
here, son.
Peak podcast game.
This is peak podcast game.
Yeah, if I ever ignore an invite from any of you guys on PS4, it's only because I just want to play with rando freaks and listen to podcasts, because that is a sweet spot.
It is the perfect game for podcasts. Because, I think the audio design is very good, but I think the visuals do 99% of the heavy lifting. So it's not like, in my experience at least, I could be wrong, I have not encountered a monster that gives, a subtle trill that I need to pay attention to in order to do a special attack. Like, that's where the window is. It's just all visual. So,
Yeah.
the music is good. The wildlife sounds are great too, but podcast that up.
I think the audio cue for knowing when to attack for some of the later monsters is just an entire episode of Comedy Bang Bang. Is that the subtle cue?
Yes.
Okay, jokes.
You need to listen to more comedy.
Take notes, buddy. That's it for emails. Is there a standout moment that anybody wants to talk about here? Something we haven't touched on yet that's killing you, burning you up inside? Yes,
I have a love-hate. So with the new Ancient Forest map,
Yeah.
it's very large and intertwined. It has 3 levels, and the map is confusing.
Yes.
And
Just the tree part in particular.
okay,
Yes.
it's a lot all at once right away. That's a big, confusing map. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Even I was like, where the am I? Like, what's happening? Where are the monsters? For the first few quests in particular.
Well, because you're coming from the 3DS realm, when you're explaining it, that's just like basically a wide open field with a grass texture on the ground, and now it's like this intertwining.
It used to have a little bit, but not like how it is now. There used to be like a couple entry and exit points that were really easy to find from zone to zone. And, like, there would be the same connections, like, oh, you're jumping off this cliff into this lower part.
Now loading.
Right, now loading. Right, but, like, now, like, there are so many times where I accidentally jump down from the high tier to the low tier, and I have no idea how to get back up. In the old ones, you just, like, turn around and climb back up.
Yeah.
And I've just, like, gotten really confused. And it's probably just because I haven't played very much in the map, but what they did in the previous games would be, like, for the first few quests in that zone, like, you can only access this part, and then, like, in the next, like, I'm talking about the very beginning tutorial quests.
Yeah.
Then they open up the next 2 zones, just so you can understand how to, like, get from here to here.
Like, meaning like the numbered areas.
Yeah.
For Monster World. Okay.
So, like, that was a little confusing and embarrassing for me the first, 10 hours.
I think that map is especially tricky because, like, I like the scout flies generally speaking. I think it's, like, a handy, like, waypoint kind of beacon, like, hey, get over here, stupid. And And that map in particular, when you're navigating like the high and low tiers, those scout flies lose their mind. they do not know what to do. Like if something is directly above you, it may as well just like form the shape of a question mark and scatter. It is. Yeah.
My favorite thing that I've noticed so far, and this is like a tiny little thing, is the omen flies. I don't know if anyone even knows what I'm talking about. They're like little dragonfly, mayfly things. They're usually white that are hanging out. And I caught one with the little like slingshot gun.
Yeah. You can put it in your house.
They're so cute. I noticed that they're normally white, but if a monster has passed them, they turn red, which I thought was like a super cool, like totally makes sense.
Just to help you track it?
Monster Hunter touch. That like that stuff has always been in the game.
Yeah.
But like I think a lot of people don't notice it.
Right.
But it's such a cool thing, like especially on the Toby Kadachi or PvP where we're like just wandering around trying to even find the starting.
We were looking for that Pookie for so long.
Oh my god! If there were scout flies and it's like a certain amount of time passes, you'd think they'd be like, look, idiot, go this way. Like we found 2 other monsters and couldn't find them when we were supposed to be hunting for like 45 minutes.
It was just a constant Anjanath. Every nook and cranny, every hallway you look down, there's another Anjanath.
Great Jagras skid mark over here.
Right? But no, I thought the omen flies were such a cute and like natural like Monster Hunter thing that I was like, oh yeah, it's still like the same people, the same like spirit. I think.
You were skeptical that they dumbed it down. Maybe with some other Monster Hunter fans before it came out. But overall, are you enjoying your time with it so far?
I'm much happier now that I have the actual game. The demo I think was a little weird, and I was like starting to get a little freaked out.
Okay.
But now that it's like the actual whole game, I'm really enjoying it and excited. I haven't had a chance to play very much yet.
You know what drives me nuts? I hate having notifications like on my phone that are unchecked or anything like that. Like
I do that.
Clean slate. But the guild card stuff, like there's always this notification in my menu, and then it's like, what is this? And I go into it, and it's like, hey, look at this random idiot that I don't think I've played with. I don't know who it is. Like, here's a guy standing with his cat. It's like, okay, so I just constantly have to like go in and look at these weirdos in order to not have that notification in my menu. It sucks.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think most people don't send them to everyone in their online sessions.
But some people do, right?
Most people, I feel like, save them for like their pals. You can only store like 50 of them. I don't think you get anything from engaging.
I don't want to look at any more of those.
Well, just ignore that one notification.
I think if you accept someone's guild card, it lets their cat show up in your game to go on missions with you.
Oh, interesting. So there is an advantage.
That's
cool.
All right. Like instead of just a random pool of like weird generic palicos that they can find, they'll find your palico.
Oh, that's kind of
all right. There's something, I guess. One thing about this that I wish was like clearer, or it would make it easier for me to engage with the game. Is like I feel like quests are in too many buckets right now. Just too many options for launching a quest? Well, it's like, not just launching it, but like the types of quests and like who you talk to and where you go to pick them up. It's like you can go on an expedition, that's not a quest. And then there are investigations, and then there are story quests, and then there are optional quests, but then there are these like bounties and other sort of like, there isn't just like one place in the menu that you're just like, I want to go here and manage all the kinds of things I can do. It's like, I feel like the board, isn't the quest board basically that? It's got a lot of it, but you still need to like go and talk to someone to register an investigation before you can then undertake that investigation. Should I be doing investigations? I haven't done any of this crap.
Again, investigations are sort of designed to provide you with different challenges on the same monster if you want to go get those extra items they have. So, you're going to get more rewards, but there might be, the time limit might be 15 minutes, you might only be able to die once. Okay. It might be limited to 2 players. You might see some other weird monsters show up on that quest that aren't normally there.
Okay. I guess what I don't understand is why this game just doesn't do what every other game does. Just give you like quest log that you just open up and like use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the weird thing that I've run into too is like, if you even give a sideways glance at a monster, it's like, oh, investigation ended. Yeah. It's like throwing those at you, and I appreciate the opportunities they provide. It's like a cool way to kind of incentivize you and focus your grind when you're looking for something in particular, but boy, I don't need 15 investigation opportunities added every time I fight a great Jagras. Like, or all those minions. You like accidentally hit one of the minions. It's like, oh, have you tried fighting me? You're gonna want to. I'm good. We get it. You do end up deleting a lot of investigations.
Deleting them. Okay. Yeah. Anything else we should definitely not be missing? Especially for people going to the next session of Game Club here, things that people they should be talking to in the town. Don't miss this. This is crucial. Don't be an idiot type of stuff.
I mean, yeah, but they do lay that out. Like, that's one of the things I thought was great. It was like every time you unlock a new thing, you'll get a tutorial window. So even if the tutorial window doesn't help you too much, go take a look at those things that it says to look at. Like, when you get to the high rank stuff, you're going to start to have socketed armor, socketed weapons.
I would suggest like making sure that you're looking at your map whenever you're in the hub and zooming in and just doing a quick glance for the yellow exclamation points. They're difficult, at least from where I'm sitting. I'm not super close to my TV. They can be they blend in pretty nicely, so be sure you're scouring them because they give you like extra missions.
Oh, really? Okay,
And,
I've never even opened my map in that place.
Oh, be sure to talk to the chef also because he's got a lot of little like gathering type missions.
one?
The Meowscular chef.
Okay.
He's got a lot of missions that will give you like if you complete them, additional ingredients for like the chef's choice meal, which is like a really great buff that you kind of accumulate over time. We're just throwing out.
And the key there, you do have to talk to the chef, which can be confusing.
He's behind the counter.
Table. You got to go behind the counter.
Yes.
Oh, I've been blowing that.
Yeah, because I talked to him. I finally figured that out, and I talked to him, and he was just like, it was just like a dozen quests he threw at me, and
Finally.
I was like, oh boy, you've been holding out on me, sir.
But you never asked.
Yeah, and there are a couple of quests real quick that are like the egg gathering quests.
Okay.
They're a pain in the ass if you are not equipping the ghillie mantle, that thing that like makes you invisible. So basically, pop that, grab the egg, and then run. Because if you don't, especially the one with the herbivores, where you think, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. There's these giant things with spiky tails. They see you and they're very territorial and will hit you. One hit will knock you down or break the egg. You have to do it all over again. But if you have the ghillie suit, they won't notice you're there.
How do you get the ghillie suit?
You get it through early on.
Oh, okay. You probably have it buried in some menu.
So if you pop that and then grab the egg, you'll have enough time to make it back to your camp without any problems.
Oh my god, I'm so glad that they kept the dumb egg.
Are these a personal favorite of yours?
Luckily, there's only like two.
Yeah. I used to be really, really, really good at them. So I would make people like bribe me to complete their egg quests for them. And then we started this rumor in the very old game that if you carried, there's this little like elf dude that like lives in the special zones. Cool. So I convinced people that if they carried the egg that they're struggling to even complete the quest to that guy and give it to him, he would like trade you items for better items sometimes. That if you would give it to him, he would give you a Rathalos plate, which used to be like super hard to get. But if you actually like walk to him and talk to him, you drop the egg.
So you're evil, is what you're saying.
You scam's great.
Oh my god, but it's fun. Like,
would you like watch him do it? Like you stand behind him and go, you can do it! Go like that, buddy! This is gonna be huge!
It's gotta be way easier now with the ghillie suit and stuff, but oh my god, it used to be just the worst. But it's one of those things where, like, when you become really good, it's sort of funny to, like, look back and do one of those quests with your friends. It's, like, hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy then. You, like, know what's going on, and it's, like, a fun, like, blow-off steam type of thing. They used to be, like, a thing you'd have to do multiple times to, like, advance to the next tier.
Yeah. Who's sticking this out? Who's in it for the long haul?
Oh, for sure.
For sure, Jeff Cork. For sure, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Probably Lele. Hell yeah, Jeffem, you riding this thing for the grave?
I definitely want to play more. I don't know how far you guys are going to be.
Let me tell you, we're going to do high rank, all in-game stuff, and that episode is going to be on February 15th is when that one's going to air. And again, I think you got an idea from this conversation. It's not like we're going to be spoiling story stuff necessarily. It's just talking about the different monsters, and even if you haven't reached that monster yet, I don't think it's the end of the world. So I don't feel like you have to see credits roll necessarily. I assume credits roll at some point.
There are credits. There's stuff after credits too. There's some really exciting stuff that I can't wait to talk about next time.
Ooh, all right. So next time we're talking about everything else. So especially if you don't care about spoilers, however far you are, please send an email to podcast@gameformer.com. Because by that time, we're all going to be experts. There's a lot of confusion on this episode, but next time around, oh man, I'm never even going to touch the ground again with that Encyclave. I'm just living in the sky.
Throwing away squads.
Yeah!
I don't even care.
Exactly.
I really, really got to know what everyone named their palicos.
Oh, mine's name is Ratmouth. It feels like a cool red wall kind of name.
Ratmouth?
Yeah, a little Ratmouth.
I named mine Behemoth.
Aww.
Margarita. That's so lame.
Dan?
Mine is named Squillside, and I'm not going to tell the story behind that one.
Oh,
Let's
geez.
just say it involves a dirty word.
Boogie.
Boogie. Is that your real cat's name?
No, it's the traditional Monster Hunter Pelico of years past.
Okay.
I named my cat with a K. So
Nice work.
Can we send him the email of the week?
Yeah, email of the week. Jeff Cork?
Max.
Is that your real cat?
Yes.
Did you make him look like your cat?
Yes.
You're more creative than that.
Well, I'll tell you this. I did, for that character, I picked the one with the crooked tail, and then I slammed Max, the real cat's door.
All right, that helps. That helps a lot. Thank you, everybody that listened to all this or watched all this, and thanks everybody in the Game Informer office that's been playing Monster Hunter and is eager to talk about it. Again, February 15th, the next episode, talking about the rest of Monster Hunter World. It's an interesting game club, so thanks for sticking with us. And thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Game Informer Show podcast. We have a bonus episode going live on Friday with Corey Arlog talking about God of War. But then after that, stay tuned for another new episode on Thursday. Bye, everybody.